Hi guys, welcome to another Chesspatzers Unite Presents. Today we're doing the second round of the British Knockouts. This is going to be a very, very tough game that we're going to be following for one of our favourite players, Ginger GM, Simon Williams. I've once again been joined by the awesome Adam Hunt. Without him, I'll get lost very quickly, so no pressure on him. But good luck, Adam, with helping me out on what the hell's going on. If you just want to say hello.
Hi, sorry, yeah.
Wicked. He's in the room. That's always a good start when we're doing these things. Simon's record against British number one. It's not amazing. I actually looked this up this time instead of just guessing. I think I could have guessed what the stats were going to be, though, to be fair. And it's currently 4-0 to Mickey Adams. 2 whites, 2 blacks. And both white games, Simon played the Queen's Gambit declined, or I guess Mickey chose the Queen's Gambit declined. So I'm not sure what's going to happen today. You got any suspicions?
No, firstly, just to say maybe that Simon's style of play probably quite suits Mickey in the sense that he knows he's going to get. He's going to play his normal kind of fairly solid game and just use any potential weakening moves that Simon might make, because Simon will almost always go for it.
Yep. That's why we love him.
So it's almost like, it's a immovable object, and the Simon's trying to hit it, and it sometimes backfires, I think, a little bit. So we'll see what happens. Did you watch? Did you watch most of the games yesterday?
Yeah, I finished off the watching on my own. Sadly, I didn't have the energy left to continue for another 5 hours, 6 hours. Actually, I think it finished around 10 o'clock. Funny enough.
Yeah, there was an amazing finish to the game between Alan Merry and John Nunn.
What happened?
Well, it was an Armageddon game. I only just caught the end of it, but basically. Yeah, went to Armageddon, and Nunn was to win the last game, I think, and he got to a winning position and lost on time.
Oh no! Oh, that's interesting, because it looked like Aaron Mellery was going to win the second game. Actually, I think the computer was saying he was +3 for quite a while. It was
one of these crazy King's Indians where Black just gives up his queenside rook. And then
that was Fury, was it? I thought he just blundered.
It definitely wasn't. It definitely wasn't a blunder, but it was more of a kind of little bit of a kind of punt, if you like. I think from Black.
Yeah, no, fair enough. He wanted to win. That's good attitude for any chess game.
And the other games, did you see Jovanka's game against Jonathan Hawkins?
I did. I was really happy for her. She doesn't get often to put a GM in the bag, so and a good one too, a very good one.
She absolutely with that second rapid play, second long play game. Sorry, she was. It's a real surprise actually, because Hawkins is normally unbelievably solid and well prepared and stuff.
So. Exactly. When she lost that first game, I was already almost texting her to say, "Oh, never mind."
Yeah.
But then that happened, and I thought I'd stay quiet just in case she manages to sneak it in the rapids. But
you have her phone number then, do you?
Well, yeah, we're friends from a while ago.
Fair enough.
There's nothing dodgy there at all. I promise.
No, I'm not saying there was. I was just interested to know. You move in high circles.
Mysterious circles would be more accurate. It's very selective. Okay, so I guess we can start kicking off with some of the moves.
Yeah, sure. I mean, is it worth us today if, let's say, we get to the position and there's not a lot going on, we can switch between games?
Yeah, let's definitely do that, because there's less games today, so it's going to be a bit easier to do. I'll try not to ask too many questions at the opening, and we'll get through a bit quicker.
The opening actually in this game, until I have had a quick look at this game, and until the point where Simon does what Simon normally does.
So there's ruined that surprise.
Let's not ruin the surprise for the 15 watchers.
Hey, it's all about the YouTube afterwards.
One of whom I suspect is my mum, and one of whom I suspect is my sister, and potentially one of them is my brother. So hello to all the Hunts who are watching the stream.
That's great, mate. Thanks for boosting the numbers. That's
Yeah. Well, if they're online and they want to say hi, and if Harriet wants to say hi and throw in her 2 cents worth, then be much appreciated.
Yeah, I want to say, unlucky yesterday, Harriet. We had a lot of people cheering for Simon, but you put up a great fight. It's pretty unlucky that first game. I think it could have all been different, right?
Yeah, the first game should have been a draw, but the second game, by her own admission, was just a bit horrible. Really, she had to try and do something, but basically just got a pretty bad position out of the opening, and her pieces weren't coordinated very well at all. So well done to Simon. I think he was the deserved winner over the 2 games.
Fair enough. Very gracious of you. Very gracious. All right, cool. Well, I'll kick off through the moves then. So D4, Knight F6. So what we got? Queen's Gambit declined. So the previous 2 games I looked at, Simon survived for between 40 and 60 moves in this. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not, as you said earlier. I mean, he's going to do a Simon move at some point. So I'm looking forward to that. I'll put it to the point where I'm completely unfamiliar with the opening, because this is a Tarish variation, I think, when they play H6. I always get my Queen's Gambit decline lines a little bit confused. Let's have a look. Yeah, because I used to play this stuff as well. Okay, we'll stop here. This is very much, I was just about to say, I used to play the Queen's Gambit's declined, and I used to just get completely stuffed by white, because I just used to go into a little ball and lose. It's very solid, but I couldn't generate the breaks that you need to generate. And it looks like Simon's not bothering with any subtle pushing moves. I've stopped on G4.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the point, obviously, to stop at. He's using caveman tactics. He's got a what we call a hook on H6, so a pawn that we can use to lever open the G file.
Yep.
So he will potentially. I almost certainly expect him to go G5 if he gets a chance. I suspect he probably won't get a chance.
No. How do you think Mickey will react to this blatant aggression?
I'm absolutely no expert on the Queen's Gambit, but I know that in this type of position, one idea that Black will have is to go Knight E4, for example.
Yeah.
And basically just try and liquidate that bishop. Take the bishops off, take the knights off probably, and because he has a slightly passive bishop on C8, if he can take a few pieces off, then that's probably quite sensible. So,
yeah,
I imagine Knight E4 would definitely be being considered. I mean, I imagine G4 has probably been seen before. It's not. I suspect it's not the sort of move that is going to be a novelty. I haven't got kind of access to a database to check that sort of stuff.
So, Patzer sees a free pawn. What happens if I take it?
Okay, good question. I don't know the answer. Let's have a look. So knight takes G4.
Yep.
Well, white has to do something about his bishop on H4.
Yep. Some priest.
So I would think he would exchange the bishops.
Okay, let's do that. Let's whack them off. Goodbye, bishops. And in rook G1 straight away.
Well, there's 2 options here, because obviously by taking on G4, you've actually weakened your pawn on D5. So I could just take that pawn.
Oh yeah, good point. Well made.
And not be a pawn down.
Yeah, that looks very reasonable.
It looks reasonable, but having said that, you're opening up kind of
both sides.
The files to the white king. So let's say takes, knight takes, and then something like queen D6 maybe.
Queen D6, nice central square. Yep.
I was wondering about queen E4, but probably queen D6.
Yep.
And I guess the knight will either retreat or will be defended with the bishop. I would probably myself verge towards moving the knight away somewhere. Let's say back to C3.
Go back. I mean, personally, just looking at this from a Patzer's eye, I quite like black already, because my light square bishop's not going to be a problem in this game. I don't see white castling either side at the moment, and the only thing I'd be slightly concerned about is maybe, which is the point in the opening, the G file.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. The knight on G4 is a little bit sensitive because there's a queen potentially attacking it down the diagonal. But I can't really see how this is looking all that scary. For example, if Black were to play something like maybe b6 in this position
Yeah.
to get the bishop out
Yeah,
to the long
that'd be a
diagonal,
very nice diagonal. Yep.
then that would be pretty reasonable. I don't really have a problem here with Black's position.
No, it looks pretty nice. Like you say, the bishop gets to b7. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe White's got to be very careful. I mean, I guess. I mean, I've got the and it's not been so reliable. I've got the Chess24 computer on as well, and he's saying a very slight edge for Black here. So it's not like White's got nothing for the.
No.
But yeah.
So let's go back, because I suspect that probably isn't the intention then.
Oh yeah.
Well, Aldo on the chat says that he thinks it is a novelty, which is very interesting.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
I bet Simon, when he saw that, he went, "I'm playing it." Without even blinking, he's like, "Oh, it's a novelty, is it? Right, that's even better." So people will be able to say it's a novelty as well. So
there she is. My sister says hello.
Oh,
hello,
hi Harriet. Hey, how you doing? I was just saying, unlucky for yesterday. You put up a really good fight. Just I think it would have gone differently had that first game not gone sideways. It's just so unlucky. One move blunders. They're horrible. And I think there was some time trouble as well, actually, from memory. So
yeah.
It's easy to go wrong.
Okay, so let's say knight takes g4, bishop takes e7, queen takes e7, and rook g1, which looks a more kind of aggressive way to play the position, shall we say? But
yeah, I mean, he even moves the rook out the way of that diagonal that we were trying to put the bishop on as well. So you probably have to play this at some point anyway. And then I guess it's just...
but the problem is now it doesn't win the pawn back. So now after knight f6.
Good point, well made. Yep, he's defending the d5 square. Yep.
So if knight gf6, then what does White want to do? Do you think? Does he want to simply move his queen and castle?
Yeah, I think so. I think you try and double up on the g file. It's a bit of a shame I haven't got a dark square bishop, but I guess that's part of it. A bit like yesterday, if the dark square bishop goes, my h6 only attacking idea goes down the pan. Because I mean, h4, h5 is not very good here, is it? It doesn't really. It's got nothing to attack, so you want to sack something if you can on h6, right?
No, I mean I think he's just going to simply play it. Now he might do it the other way and take the pawn back, but if he now plays, for example, queen c2 and just castles, puts the bishop on maybe e2 and doubles his rooks on the g file, that's the sort of thing I think he might have in mind.
Yeah, and then maybe if you ever move the g pawn, then the Harry pawn can come and get you.
And he's basically just saying, right, well, I don't want the g pawn. I might as well not have it. I don't think there's a kind of particularly devastating attack coming at the moment.
No, but like you said earlier, it's more Simon's style, isn't it? He wants something like that in the position. I don't think he just wants to sit there and wait to see what happens.
No, I think probably also he wants to enjoy himself today. He had a good win yesterday. He's got a lot of money coming his way.
Yeah.
He knows that probably he's got a pretty small percentage chance of beating Mickey over 2 games.
Yeah.
So why not enjoy it and try something a little bit different?
Yeah, in boxing parlance, he would say, he's got a puncher's chance, right? In a short rounds, who knows?
Yeah.
If he wins one,
if he can win the first game, then he's got every chance.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's see how Mickey responded to this act of aggression. He ignored it. He played c5.
Ah, okay.
So he's playing on both sides of the board. I'm guessing he's just thinking, if I open up lines on both sides, I've got chances on both sides. I mean, what do you think?
I mean, he's just reacting with counterplay on the queen side, so that now Simon's king is going to find it a little bit more difficult, I guess, to be getting safe on the queen side if the c file becomes open.
Yeah, because I'm sure he knows Simon's style, and he's definitely thinking about, Simon will try and sack something and then castle queenside and chuck everything out.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's prepping ready for that. I mean, let's face it. I mean, Mickey Adams, he's known as this super positional player that sees everything. I think the nickname, as everyone calls him, is Spider-Man. But he knows tactics too. I mean, he's no shy tactics guy.
No, absolutely not. I mean, they all obviously at this level are. At his level are unbelievable at pretty much every area of the game. So You give him a tactical position, he'll be okay. He'll be absolutely fine. He'll be very strong. But I mean, obviously, c5 is a very sensible choice as well. He doesn't want to maybe play into any potential preparation that Simon's done with the move g4 by accepting the pawn, which I imagine you'd have to look at for a while.
Yeah, that's true.
And probably Simon has prepared g4 to a certain degree.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of misunderstanding about Simon's play sometimes. I think, and I'm sure he does wing it on less important competitions, but there's no doubt he would have put some work into this.
Yeah, you would expect so. Although he wouldn't have had massive amounts of time, of course, but yeah. Okay, so let's see what happens. So is he going to go g5?
Well, yeah, I guess that's the question. Is he going to go g5 or is he going to try and...
You see, the problem with going g5 in this position is I think knight e4 is a bit annoying.
Is it because that pawn's pinned? Yeah.
Because of the pin.
Yeah.
So
even here, you'd never consider taking the h pawn?
Well, you definitely consider it. You definitely consider it, but let's just say take on h6.
Yeah. Bishop
take on h4.
Yeah.
You see, I'm also threatening your f2 pawn, which is annoying.
Yeah, that's true. So no rook g1.
So no rook g1, exactly, and you don't really want to take that bishop because then you're going to have a threat of checkmate against you.
Bigger threat, yeah.
So you're going to probably have to take the knight on e4, and I just don't see what White has in compensation for the piece here. Actually,
yeah, it looks a bit.
He could take on e4 and then go. Well, what could he go? He could go maybe pawn takes pawn on g7,
attacking the rook,
for example. But even then, Adams might just go rook e8 and use the pawn as a shield. That's a pretty typical idea when you're getting attacked like that. Just leave the pawn there for a while.
Yeah.
And as long as there's no checkmate down the h file, which is hard to achieve here, I think, then black is probably already winning.
Yeah, I mean, especially someone of Mickey's defensive skills as well. I mean, he'd be like delighted you just gave him a piece. Come and get him. Frenchie in the chat's actually made a very good point. He's saying that Simon would have had plenty of time to prep because he would have been optimistic that he would have won his first round game, whoever he got. No offense to Harriet. So he would probably have pre-planned that he would have got Mickey anyway as soon as they found out the draw. So he probably would have had a few days to think about it.
He probably would have thought about it. I'm not sure how much. I could well be wrong. I would have thought that probably the focus would have had to have been just on getting through that first game.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because it's a big amount. It's a big kind of difference in cash as much as anything else. So
yeah. Money's important, unfortunately.
maybe he's had it. Maybe he's had a little bit of a think about it. Maybe this comes from previous games against him. I don't know, but
yeah, he may have some prep left over. Hey, Charlie Chess Cat, typing away as usual. Brilliant.
Charlie the Chess Cat.
Just seeing those paws.
The Chess Cat is supporting in this match.
It's great. I think Charlie's Simon's owner. I think that's how the relationship is. I was joking. I'm pretty sure it's not the other way around.
I'm really sure that Charlie the Chess Cat is biased in Simon's favour.
Yeah, I think so too. It's more support the better, eh? And if you get the animal kingdom on your side, then that's
well, indeed. But then you've got every chance, haven't you?
Okay, so Simon is going to react by playing rook g1 straight away. Okay, fine. So he's ignoring all the centre tension. Is that a good idea? Give yourself a few more options.
Well, it stops Adams from being able to take the pawn, which I guess is a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, just generally, like, for centre tension, I mean, people like myself and my level, we tend to not like it, having all those pawns facing off against each other. And I guess it's always a tough decision for us of when we're going to take.
It's a tough decision for anybody. I guess the only thing to say is just think about whether the exchange is going to benefit your position or benefit your opponent's position. Because if it's not clearly going to benefit your position, then tension is generally better kept, I would say.
Okay. Cool. So now we're going to have to see how Adams is going to react to that pawn being saved. And, he's still, like you said a minute ago, g5's not really a threat yet because of the pin after the knight moves.
It's a bit more scary now. It's a bit more scary because the rook might come to g7 with check if there's a pawn on h6, but it's certainly something Adams has to be thinking about.
He'd never
So
play something.
I guess candidate moves here would be to exchange on d4, would be to go knight e4 again,
Yeah.
or I'm probably going to be proved completely wrong. There's probably something else that he's going to do, but maybe play something like b6 as well to put the bishop on the diagonal. But that probably isn't the right way. I wouldn't have thought.
Would he
So
ever?
probably-
Would he ever consider something crazy like g5? Is that just like a don't ever do that in front of your king when there's a rook lined up?
No, not at all. I mean, I actually played Mickey Adams back 7 years ago, and it wasn't the same line. It was Roy Lopez while I was white, but he played h6 and g5 to attack my bishop with his king castled pretty much, without blinking,
Oh wow.
because he'd obviously prepared it. In this particular position, it doesn't seem like a bad move. I mean, I guess the bishop will drop back.
Yeah.
Drop back.
I was wondering if this was helping Simon's H pawn attack.
Yeah,
as
no,
he notes.
I think it probably does. The bishop on g3 is not too badly placed.
I guess the pawn's on pre again.
The pawn's on pre, exactly. So you'd have to take that into account. But this time round, it looks like that pawn will probably be a little bit risky to take. So, for example, if you did take it, I might even be able to take on g5 and do a discovered attack on your knight.
Yeah. This.
Possibly, although then I could throw in an intermediate move, knight takes e3.
Oh,
And
wow.
things are starting to get a little bit complicated.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it seems unlikely that this will happen anyway. I mean, g5. I mean, the good news of g5. Usually, I've already played f5 here, so it's normally bad for me to be playing g5 because you have problems on f5 itself. But I guess that pawn on e6 looks pretty negative. It's actually pretty good here, controlling that square.
Yeah.
I
I
guess
don't
then.
think he'd play g5.
Yeah, then I was thinking about the tensions, and then maybe you'd be considering to take c takes d just to try and get that e pawn away from f5, and it'd be a plan there to. That would be a point where breaking the tension might be worth it because at least you're freeing up a square you're after.
Right. Okay. So you'd be thinking about how to get sorry, is white are you talking?
Yeah. I'm all about Simon.
You're all about Simon, right? Okay. Yeah, that's completely sensible. I guess the only thing is there that you're releasing my bishop on c8, which at the moment is trapped in. So
Yeah, fair enough.
he may also consider in this position something would be quite normal like a6.
A6, wow, that would be something.
It looks very slow, but the idea typically would then be to take on c4 and then to play bishop takes c4 and then play b5 and get a little bit of
Yeah.
counterplay like that as well.
Again, like you say, if you know your opponent's going to go queenside, there's nothing wrong with playing a6 ready for it. It's not a terrible move. Black's not getting crushed here yet, so you can get away with these sort of moves.
Or he may take a completely different approach and just step his king off the off the g file. That would also be completely reasonable, I think.
Right, I'm going to end your pain. I'm going to.
Yeah, please do. Please end the pain.
He's broken the tension in the centre.
Okay. So we took on d4.
Yes. So now we have to
Yeah.
decide which way we're going to capture back. We've got three options.
Indeed.
So pawn, knight, or queen. I guess queen. At least you're. Are we threatening to take on d5? Probably not actually, because that bishop's still hanging on. Oh, is it though? You can just take there.
It's probably. I'm not sure you are threatening it.
No.
But queen takes looks.
That's
to
pretty on
me
the board.
Quite appealing in the fact that the knight on b8 can't attack it because it's on d7. The bishop could attack it via c5, but
Yeah. Actually, no, that looks really good, and then maybe we're playing an early d4 at some point as well. I don't know. That knight on f3 is still doing a good job. Maybe not this. Maybe not. What
no,
else?
I'm not overly impressed with. Let's say queen d2 after bishop c5.
I was sticking with this. Yeah.
Let's stick with it just for a couple of moves. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think bishop c5 is necessary.
And then,
But what else is he? What else could he play if he doesn't go bishop c5?
Yeah, let's go back a bit. I mean, because I just like centralising queens. Usually, queens in the centre means they've got a lot of control. If they can stay there, it's normally a good thing. And he's eyeing up g7. You know, all these Patzerish. I want to mate you.
One thing that you would definitely want to be considering here as black, and it would be absolutely the right sort of idea would be to try and exploit the fact that your king is safe and his king is not castled. So I was wondering if black could play e5.
Oh, straight e5 here. Wow.
Just play it. Just sack a pawn.
Yep.
I think it sacks. It might not even sack a pawn, by the way.
All right. Well, let's pretend it has. So we'll take it.
Well, then I was. The reason I said it might not sack a pawn is because then bishop c5 might be annoying then.
Let's have a look.
Then you have to go queen f4, I think.
Okay.
I don't see how else you can save your
You've got to defend the knight, yeah.
queen. And then after queen f4, I'm guessing bishop d6 might just win on the spot.
Bishop d6. Oh yeah, nice pin. I was looking at g5 as well, but I always look at g5.
It's actually a little bit more complicated than that. Bishop d6 might not win on the spot
because
of knight takes f7.
Attacking the queen, yeah. And then are we? This is getting too complicated for me.
It's complicated for sure. Then black would have to take the queen.
Yeah. So queen, knight takes queen.
Probably. Knight takes queen, and then he could play something like.
Would you just take the bishop?
Always looking at these intermediate moves. So something like bishop takes h2 would take the bishop away from attack and attack the rook.
Yeah. Wow.
And the rook wouldn't have to move.
Yeah, just attack the bishop again, though. Just keep attacking the bishop.
Yeah, keep it. So rook h1 or something.
Yeah.
Or rook g2 probably better.
Rook g2 better. This is a mental line. And this is only move one of the three options. Not that it would definitely go down this. I'm sure not everything there was forced. Was it? Was it all forced?
No, I mean, this is... Let's just stop. Let's just take a count here. So it's black's a pawn down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But
6 versus 5.
There
Are we going to win? Are we going to get the c? No, we're not going to get the c pawn.
You can get the g pawn. So you could here, for example, play
rook takes knight.
Rook takes knight. Rook takes bishop g5.
Yeah.
Bishop g3. Knight takes g4.
Wait. Rook takes. Bishop takes. Are we playing, g5 after rook takes knight?
Yeah, breaking the pin.
Yeah. And then, I guess h takes? Attacking the bishop again?
No, well, you've got to play, haven't you got to play rook takes bishop there? Instead of g5?
Yeah, because instead of g5, sorry.
Yeah, well, maybe you could play g5. It's not I think I'll just take it.
And then, it's pinned, of course, yeah. And I was thinking why you were saying knight takes g5, but of course the bishop's pinning the rook, yeah. So what pawn are we going to... Do we get a pawn back here at all? Do we have to move the rook again?
So...
Oh, no, we can take the pawn. We can take it because we're attacking the rook, right?
I'm lagging behind you just a little.
No, it's fine. It's all right. It'll catch up. We can
I don't think you can take on g4.
Because...
Well, because, for example, I could go bishop takes d8... Knight takes h2 and knight takes d5 or something and be a pawn up.
Yeah, that looks good.
So I was wanting to play g5 before playing knight takes g4.
Oh, breaking the pin, right, yes.
Yeah, breaking the pin first.
That makes way more sense. I mean, just drop the bishop back, I guess, and then you're attacking the
Exactly, and then I guess once the smoke's cleared, you probably will be taking white in that position because he's got a pair of bishops.
Yeah.
Board's quite open unless black has some immediate tactical ideas, which I can't see.
No, it's actually really tricky. That h-pawn's dropping and you can't...
Well, knight takes g4 now, defends the h-pawn.
And attacks the rook, I guess.
And attacks the rook. But, yeah, this is... I mean... Let's go back because this is an interesting line, but
mental line.
Yeah, it's a mental line, and almost certainly it won't happen.
Gosh, if it does though, then I'll be buying you several beers for.
Well, yeah, queen takes d4, e5 is a really even like, for example, if knight takes e5, bishop c5, queen f4, maybe he doesn't even play bishop d6.
I was wondering about g5 here. Is it just rubbish?
No, it's not rubbish at all.
I don't know how open my king is afterwards if you sack. Oh, computer's gone mental. He loves white here. It's not a good move.
D5 isn't a good move.
No. But funny enough, in this position, black's apparently over a pawn up. So black's doing well.
Well, I can sort of understand. I'm not quite sure. I can't quite see the way.
No, but it might be a bit like yesterday. Do you remember when I said, "Oh, and it's +3 here," and it wasn't? So I've taken all my computer analysis with a pinch of salt here. It may decide to change its mind. But okay, so we've explored queen takes and obviously the options that comes behind it. You might win a pawn, but you may also be trapping your queen. So it's a risky line. You'd have to work it all out. The other moves are just simply e takes, which I guess is leading to an isolated pawn for white, possibly.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Might be worth taking c4 here, even though you develop the light square bishop. You've got something to play against. That d5 square is quite nice for those knights, isn't it? For the black knights.
Absolutely, yeah. So
probably...
yeah, I think you're right. I think probably black would take on c4.
Yeah.
And bishop takes c4.
And then knight b6.
And then something like knight b6. The problem sometimes with this type of position is that you'd like to be able to put both knights on d5, and obviously you can't. You can only put one there. So it might be that one gets a little bit stuck either on b6 or on f6, depending a little bit on... So, for example, after, say, something like bishop d3, you're probably thinking about playing knight d5 already, although you could play something like bishop d7 to c6 as well.
Yeah, that looks nice.
Just, good plan. Just this idea now of g5 is definitely in the air.
Yeah.
And has to be taken very seriously. So you'd think he'd probably put his f knight on d5.
Swap off material this way.
Swap it off so then at least g5 isn't attacking the knight.
Yep. No easy way to open up the file then, I guess. Because you'd answer g5 with maybe h5, possibly? I don't know.
Yeah, possibly. You might well just take it.
Yeah, just say, meh. It's only a h-pawn. You're right, though, because, I mean, open up the h-file. There is a h-pawn in the way. It'll take a while for Simon to get the h-pawn out of the way.
Yeah.
So this is possible. I don't think he'll go this route. I don't think he'll allow d takes c4. So I don't think he's going to take with a pawn. And the final option was taken with the knight. And I guess that feels the most loose out of all the things we've looked at. But at least if you played e5 here, I'd have a nice knight on f5. So
that's definitely true, and a knight on f5 is great.
Yeah, I'll just put that on the ball just for visualness. This looks very nice for white. It looks nice. I don't know if there's anything there, but it's never a terrible thing to get your knight, as I was saying yesterday, to f5 for attacking players. It's a dream, really, if you can get your knight there. But you don't have to play e5, obviously. So I don't know. I also don't like moving away from the dark square. Bishop just feels so loose as well.
He's taken with the knight, apparently.
Oh,
so fair enough. We've got this position.
Okay, well let me go to that then. Let me just do that. So he's taken with the knight. So now we have to decide what the heck is going on. I wonder why he disregarded queen takes. Not that we found a particularly amazing line for white, but I don't know. It just felt like there was more options. I don't know.
Yeah, I think e5 would definitely have been a worry for Simon, shall we say?
Yeah, maybe.
Whereas this time it's not quite so dangerous for the reasons you already pointed out. The knight f5 is a good square.
Yeah. So
the question now is what is black going to do? Is he going to allow g5? Maybe even g5 isn't so much of a worry now for black.
I wonder if he's going to go with your previous plan and just swap some bits off, just play knight e4.
Yeah, quite possibly. So if knight e4, white would have to probably play bishop takes bishop.
Yep.
And then black has a choice.
Oh, yeah, he can take on c3 as well, can't he?
So we'd have to then be doing a little calculation based upon two different options. So knight takes c3. The first thing to think about there would definitely be bishop takes d8.
Yep.
The knight on d1, although it has in that position got a pawn on b2, it can attack. In this type of little trick, the knight could easily get trapped.
Yeah.
And especially if the bishop could be maybe making a maneuver to attack the rook. So actually, I think this is a terrible idea for black, because now after bishop e7,
Yeah.
the rook e8 and bishop a3,
You're defending the b pawn. Yeah.
you defend the b pawn and you trap the knight.
The knight's got nowhere to go.
Here, black would be obliged to probably take on b2 first, and that doesn't look convincing at all.
At what point? I mean, when does he get the time to do it? I mean, that's the
Well,
problem.
just instead of playing rook e8,
Oh,
just giving up in an exchange.
okay.
But
Are we
that's,
getting...
that's not going to be suitable. Really.
No,
So
because you're not even getting the c pawn. If you got the c pawn as well, maybe, because then you got
maybe
two pawns
even
for
then,
exchange.
even then your pieces aren't very well developed, so
No,
it's
no.
not going to be enough.
All right. Well, I think that probably unlikely then. So what? There was another option you were saying.
Yeah,
just taking
so
the queen straight away.
probably just take back with the queen straight away.
Yeah. And then, are we going to take that knight and put double pawns? Is that a good or a bad thing?
So in this type of position, the other option here for white, would be to take on d5 first.
Oh, d5 first. Sorry, let's do that. Yep. And then knight takes c3.
Yeah, and then knight takes c3 exactly, and then bc, and then ed.
And what have we got at the end of this? We've got an uncastled white king with a queen lined up against it. We've got a Gary pawn that's charging down the board. Black has an isolated pawn, but so does white. And I don't know where you put your king. Where'd you put the king as white?
Fortunately, white has a move which could be quite useful in knight f5.
Ah, so the knight f5 idea again. Ah, yeah.
I'm not sure how useful, because you threaten the pawn, so maybe then something like
Queen c5?
Queen, yeah, good luck, Harriet. Harriet's started playing, I like it. She's playing in the FIDE Open, which starts today.
Oh, is it today it starts? Oh, good luck, Harriet. You had a nice warm-up.
So, probably now Queen e5, I would guess.
Well, I like... Oh, yeah, either way, as long as we're attacking that c pawn, I don't mind.
But then Queen d4, you see.
Okay, so one's about... is it the same with Queen c5? Is it the same?
Probably the same. At least with Queen e5, Queen d4, black doesn't have to deal with the immediate threat of mate on g7.
Yeah. That's true. These little things.
And maybe this little detail means that this is playable for white, because, if he can repair his pawn structure, he'll be most happy.
Yeah.
And there's not kind of an immediate way here for black to unravel himself, shall we say.
Okay. All right, well, let's see what he plays. He's going to go for... so he has gone for knight e4.
Ah, interesting, okay.
So we stumbled... Well, not stumbled. It was your idea. It was just when it was going to be played, I guess. So, let's see...
So I imagine Simon has taken on e7 very quickly.
Yep, he did. And Mickey recaptured the queen. There was none of that shenanigans.
Okay, so that's reasonable analysis from us.
Oh, and he actually took the knight first. He didn't take on d5 first. He took... Which was my original move, but I did like taking d5 first. At least...
Yeah.
I don't know. You're just weighing up whether black's double pawns are that bad, and they're probably not, right?
There was one other idea there for black, though. So if you just go back a move,
Yep.
after taking on d5,
Sorry. Yep.
if black takes back on d5, it doesn't take on c3 first.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. I just sort of went for that as a reflex move.
Now, my sort of idea was that if you would then take that pawn with your knight, I might be able to do something annoying to you with my queen, like maybe queen h4 or queen e5 or something like that.
Which one do you want? You can't have both, unfortunately, Adam.
That's a shame. Okay. Well, initially I wanted Queen H4, but I think there's a good defence.
All right, well, let's go for it. Threatens mate. I see what you're doing. Well, it's not. Yeah, it is mate. Yeah, it is mate. Yeah. So what would be the defence here? Queen F3.
Excellent. Yeah, Queen F3. I think is
attacking the knight.
Is an annoying move.
Percy hasn't been paying attention to chat because I always mention F5 and F4, and he's saying I haven't mentioned it. I think I've mentioned it about 5 or 6 times, Percy. Hacker's Guide to Chess. I should write it one day. It's rubbish though because I just miss blatantly easy tactics. But that's another story. So Queen F3 maybe holds it together. Is there anything better?
Yeah, absolutely. And I wasn't even that worried for white because if you just go back a couple of moves to the position after E takes D5 for black,
yeah,
he could still play that knight F5 move.
Yep, that's true. I like this knight F5. It just, I don't know, it just feels nice. It's because there's no way to kick it easily because you're always taking on H6, which is
this one might be a little bit different because black can play Queen B4.
Queen B4. So I guess, I mean, that looks really greedy, Adam.
Queen D4 anyway. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Sorry, yeah, no, I'm just saying that I was going to say, at what point do you decide as a player that, hang on a minute, I'm not going to hang on anymore. I'm going to go and try and get some material. When it seems like almost like a desperado result move. Like, okay, well, I'm going to get my queen out of the way and I'm going to attack your B pawn, even though I'm getting attacked quite nicely over on the king side. It feels like we're just moving a defender away.
Well, by getting attacked quite nicely or quite viciously, what are we saying here? Are we saying that white has loads of pieces in the attack? Actually, at the moment, not.
2, maybe 3 with the queen after G5. Is there not the queen coming in as well? I mean,
how are you going to do it?
G5 and H4.
G5 now.
I don't know about it straight away because otherwise we're losing something on C3.
Yeah, you're very slow. You're very slow here because I'm obviously going to take your B2 pawn.
Yeah.
So I think Queen D4 is forced.
Queen D4 and not Queen C2. Is that rubbish?
No, not rubbish at all. I just thought that probably white would want. Actually, I feel that it's white's king that's in more danger than black's. Right. So if let's say you played Queen C2, then I would play probably something like Knight E5.
Oh, you're coming in. You're coming in.
The black pieces are very harmonious.
Yeah, I like this. Yeah, it's sort of flowing, isn't it? Yeah. Very nice knights in the middle of the board. It's what you want, isn't it? And to be honest, you're maybe swapping off the good knight on F5 with your so-called bad bishop on C8.
Exactly,
yeah.
Exactly. I think black would be happy here. So
yeah, it looks nice.
I'm a bit surprised by Simon's decision to take on E4, but let's see what happens.
Yep. Well, it's going to obviously lead to double pawn. So let's. Whoops, that wasn't the line. Come on. Where's the main? Actually, hang on a minute. Maybe he does take on C. You know, again, like Chess24, what happens is when we go on our sidelines, it makes it very hard for us to get back onto the main line again.
Let's have a look.
I think what we're seeing now, which you're going to get in a couple of seconds, is actually live. I think I'm back on the live game again. I'm getting feeling that I've got 2 options here. Blue seems to be the sidelines and white seems to be the main line. I'm going to just
cheat and check it out as well.
Yeah, no, I think he did take on...
he took on D5.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, and Adams took on C3.
Yeah, and he's recaptured with the B pawn.
BC, and now ED5 is almost certainly going to happen. I guess he could consider sacrificing a pawn, and maybe that's a small detail that might have just been possibly missed. Could black play Queen C5 here?
Let's have a look.
And then take that with the queen if he gets a chance.
An in-between move again. It's these in-between moves I always miss.
Because actually now I'm genuinely Queen takes C3 is quite annoying, I think.
Yeah, so if we just ignore it and we just take that pawn, E6 pawn, taking C3.
I'll take on C3.
Yeah. We'll have to move
You'll have to play King E2.
Yeah.
And I could probably just take back on E6 and be really happy that
you've got an open F file.
Your king is looking very stupid.
Yeah, that rook looks pretty scary on F8 as well, coming in hopefully onto F2 at some point. No, you still got to make a move, I guess. We'll take the pawn, I guess, the e6 pawn.
No, you can't because of queen c4 check, and you'd lose your knight.
Oh yeah, it's nice. Yeah, he doesn't even lose a pawn back. Just to show that, guys, because I'm rubbish at chess. Knight e6 equals queen c4 check, picking up the knight.
It's not completely disastrous. I mean, white could play rook c1 instead and kind of gang up his pieces around his own king to try and defend.
Yeah. I guess you may have a dream.
It just looks like a very strange square for the king. I mean, I guess black would just retreat with his queen somewhere, maybe
a5. Stop your rook.
Yeah, maybe a5 because then knight takes e6. I still don't think is possible. Knight takes e6 is possible.
Okay. So do we need to? Can we defend that pawn?
It's no. Hang on. No, knight takes e6 isn't possible.
After queen a5.
Yeah, it's quite funny. So queen a5.
Yeah.
Knight takes e6.
Yeah.
What I wanted to do was fork you with queen a6 check.
Yeah.
King moves back.
Yeah.
Queen takes knight, but then because the rook's on c1, white can win a queen with bishop c4.
Yeah, there's a nice skewer. Yep, but
I think black can instead take on a2 with check.
Oh yeah. Hang on. After knight takes e6. Well, that just picks up the knight again, doesn't it?
Well, and then the point is king e2 can't be played because queen takes f2 as mate. Sorry, king e1 can't be played.
Yes, very beautiful, yeah. Just putting that on the board. Just to show you the dangers of opening up f-files next to your king. Yes, very embarrassing. Whoops, early drink in the pub. Even though you got another round to go. So tricky. So he's unlikely to let the c-pawn go then. So
I would have thought it'd be very unlikely. But I mean, maybe queen c5, rook c1, for example, and it's a question, I guess, as to whether or not Adams wants to have an isolated queen's pawn for the moment, but it does release his bishop, or whether he wants to play it in a slightly different manner, where he has his queen maybe on queen on d5, but his bishop's blocked in.
Yeah, true.
So I was actually thinking instead of e takes d5 there, queen takes d5.
Oh, sorry, I totally missed that. I was thinking about my coffee that I haven't picked up from the kitchen yet. Mine like a butterfly sometimes. Yeah. And then, what, we're going to play down... Sorry, and then white plays c4? Is that a move?
It's definitely a move. I might give you a check then and just say, well, look, my pawn structure's better than yours in the endgame if you swap the queens off. I'm not going to be too scared of anything else, so black will probably just be a bit better there, I would guess.
So maybe just back to the plan of h4 and g5.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, or develop his bishop maybe first.
Develop? Simon will... No, of course, yeah. No. These are options. I mean, it doesn't look terrible, h4 on the ball, just like visually, it doesn't look like...
Yeah, Adams actually just took back on d5 with his pawn.
Oh, okay. Let's come
so
back
now I was thinking that knight f5 would happen.
Let's go.
It seems very reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point, right? I mean, I'm sure Simon was thinking that at some point if the e-pawn never moves, his knight would be in an ideal place to jump straight in. And it's just whether it's as good as it looks.
I'm wondering then if knight f5 does happen, if Adams doesn't want to allow queen d4, so if queen e5 is a bad move because of queen d4, which could well be the case, whether or not he might put his queen somewhere else like, I don't know, f6 or e6?
Well, we'll try f6 first.
Try f6. My sort of semi-idea was there. You obviously can't take on d5 because c3 is hanging with check.
Yeah.
And if queen d4 now, I might be able to throw in knight to e5.
Yeah, you kind of want to get that bishop out and threaten that knight on f5, right? If you can swap that.
And it also threatens to win a queen, so...
Oh yeah, the little threat of knight f3 check, yeah, these things again.
That's good.
Yeah, that's not a bad threat. As threats go. Yeah, no, I like this as black, and like you say, and once the queen moves or saves or the check's broken, you're pretty much going to swap off a bishop that hasn't moved for a very, very good knight that's moved a lot.
there are some very interesting possibilities here. For example, I'm wondering, and I know it looks crazy, whether black or white could consider castling queenside.
Wicked. Now you're channeling your in a ginger GM.
Yeah,
Wowzers. Okay.
it's probably rubbish, but let's just do
No.
it. So,
Computer's not hating you, apparently.
my initial idea was if knight f3, then white can just simply take on f6,
Yeah.
and he'll get a good pawn structure. So I don't think that's
Yeah.
possible.
Knight f6 not happening, no.
My then next thought was whether or not black can just win a pawn.
With bishop
And-
takes knight.
Exactly, with bishop takes knight.
Yeah.
And I saw a sort of semi-forcing line. So bishop takes knight,
Yeah.
pawn takes,
Yeah.
queen takes,
Yeah.
and then I thought f4 would be reasonable. This
Yeah.
actually looks because it sort of pins the knight to the g7
Yeah,
pawn.
very nice.
So
Yeah.
knight g6 I think is forced.
Yeah, it has to block the. So if the knight went anywhere else, guys, then g7's checkmate. So it has to go to g6.
And then maybe something like bishop d3.
Oh yeah, no, this seems good. Yeah, this is a very nice idea, Adam. I mean, whether it's crushing or not, you got to be happier as white. Your pieces are flowing forward. You got
Pieces are
your open
starting to work quite nicely. Now, for example, if the queen moves too far backwards, white might just go f5 and win a piece.
Yeah.
So this actually looks maybe... Am I strong enough here to think that it might be lost? Looks
it's
very
not
bad.
looking good for black, is it? I mean, what have we got? Queen h5 maybe?
But then just f5.
Just f5 anyway, yeah. Yeah, it's true. So how do we have to swap queens here? Do we have to play queen f6?
You can't swap queens. You can't even play queen f6 because I'll just take it and then play f5.
Oh, it's still f5 every time, yeah, because
Yeah.
basically the pin is real.
It's
a real
really
pin.
annoying.
Yeah.
So not the most ridiculous idea in the world, I
No,
don't
I
think.
like that. I like that a lot. And that, to be honest, that is a kind of. I know it's your move, but that is a kind of ginger GME move as well. So he probably
It's just the
considers it.
ginger move.
It's a ginger move, yeah. The Ginger Brotherhood approve castling. So that queen that was on queen f6. So I mean, let's see if he plays knight f5 because then we can really look into that line. I'd be
No, he
quite
didn't-
surprised if he doesn't.
He didn't. He played g5.
Okay, well that's an equally unsurprising move, I guess. I'm just going to grab
Yeah.
my coffee briefly if you want to chat about g5.
Sure. Okay, so g5. What's Simon's idea? Well, obviously, he's going to take on h6 if he gets a chance. And now he's got ideas coming maybe of knight f5. So I would think that pawn is almost certainly got to be accepted. With
Yep.
pawn takes g5.
Are we
Now,
we're
what's
taking
the-
it? Are we?
I don't really see what else.
Yep. Okay. And then, are we going to play h4, f4, or?
Wow. I don't think you're going to play f4 because that would weaken your e pawn a bit too much.
Oh yeah, he'll just smash with the queen. Yep. Sorry, I'm getting excited by seeing pawns
You
thrown
might
at
well
kings.
play h4.
Yeah, h4. Yep. Open up the line if you can.
Let's have a think. So h4.
We've still got ideas of that knight coming into f5 in this. I like it. I'm liking this. It's so dangerous. You can't take that pawn. Not really. Because I
It's
think
a really
just to show the
brave
danger in the
game by
position.
Simon. It's a really bold game,
This
and
is-
I bet he's enjoying it.
I mean, yeah, exactly right. I mean, this is game over on the board. It'll update in a second. Someone's suggesting a line in the chat, so let's have a quick look at that.
Sure, let's have a look.
They're suggesting queen h5, bishop h3, queen h7 can't be stopped. Sorry, bishop d3.
So let's have a look. So instead, do you mean instead of h4, or do you mean before h4?
I think it's instead of h4. So queen h5. Bishop and what's the bishop?
Instead, okay, let's try. So queen h5.
Yeah. And then what's black's move?
What if I just played?
G6.
Yeah, let's try g6.
What's the follow up? Where does the queen go? We're not going to take the g pawn. That'd be naff, right?
You could take it with your rook.
Oh yeah, that pin. What? Yeah, that's true. Yeah, let's try that.
not silly.
Not
Then-
terrible. That pawn is pinned. But I get the feeling like something like knight f6 or something like that looks quite...
Yeah, the knight will be pretty well placed on f6, especially if it's coming into e4 to attack the rook as well. So that will be quite interesting, because if knight f6, then queen h4, and then you can't play knight e4 because of rook takes g6 check, winning your queen to a discovery.
Right, yeah. So what would we play here?
But because your bishop's been released, it might be that you could simply do something calm here, like play king g7.
Just walk your king up. Oh yeah, I mean...
And then play rook h8, for example.
That's an idea.
Or, I mean,
Feels like there should be something else here. It just feels like this is like an attack I would do, Adam, with white. And in, I don't know, it just feels a tiny
it
bit
feels
like...
a little bit loose, do you mean?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like something's wrong with my pieces. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you, I think. Doesn't... Okay, knight f5, bishop takes f5. Was suggested knight f5, but I don't think it works.
Where? What, here in this position?
I think he's saying after king g7, knight f5 check wins the queen.
Oh. But then bishop takes, no?
Loses a rook. Well, it doesn't...
Just bishop takes knight, no?
Yeah, bishop takes knight. Rook takes on f5.
Would you?
I think you'd have to.
Alright. G takes.
Well, g takes, I think, might be a draw.
Is the knight not covering the check?
It's covering the check, but it might be pinned down the diagonal, see, to the queen.
So, queen check.
So queen g5 check.
King h8?
And maybe king h8, queen h4 check, you see.
Ah.
I wanted to go a slightly different way. I wanted instead, after king g7, queen g5 check, king h7. I wanted to go like that.
h7, okay.
Yeah. I wanted to go up the board
Yeah.
with my king.
Is it going to be the same check on h5, h4?
Yeah, I was a bit scared actually that black might here, white, sorry, here might change his tack slightly and play something like bishop d3 instead of the check on h4.
Yep. I mean, it's scary for black, I've got to say.
And it might just be losing for black.
Yeah, it's hard to see how to get out of the way.
Bishop takes f5 is a mighty problem. Okay, actually there is a way, probably with rook g8.
Rook g8 here.
Yeah.
Attacking the queen, so I'm guessing a check of some sort. Oh, you're going to get your queen to g7 and then walk out that way.
I was going to put my rook on g6 to block bishop takes f5 check.
So bishop takes f5 check. Yeah, because white has sacked some bits here, right?
Sacked a rook, yeah.
Yeah, and then no, this looks right, doesn't it? It looks holdable, very holdable.
But it's a very messy line, and I think there was probably quite a bit of scope for improvement there probably for both sides.
Yeah, probably. But our rushed analysis on it. There might be people sitting over a computer saying, "Oh no, this definitely works" or something. But
of course, I mean, if you're sitting there with a computer, you can make anything silly.
Exactly.
Which is why it tends to be the case. Although it's nice to see the actual truth in what's going on something like Chess24, it doesn't really benefit your kind of...
I always turn the computer off, to be honest, and I love the commentators that don't use them, because then they find such way more fun lines. Like the computer will just say, "That's the line that needs playing," and it sort of makes chess a little bit more boring, right?
Yeah, so Adams has gone h takes g5.
Yeah.
And I guess Simon is now toying up maybe queen h5, although I'm not completely convinced by it. I'm thinking he'd probably go h4, or he might here consider knight to f5 again, although that probably makes much less sense now because the knight's not got a backup. So if knight f5 and queen f6 or queen e5 or something, actually it just looks stupid, doesn't it? So that's not going to happen.
Yeah. What I've just pondering was they've used quite a lot of time, both of them, because they're only on move 14. It actually feels like we've had a really, really long game, but it hasn't. This has been very rich, hasn't it? The early middle game of this.
Yeah, really rich, really unusual position that's come about because of this early a G pawn advance.
Yeah.
And
I think I'm with
probably-
you. I bet Simon's loving this, absolutely loving it. That he's got a chance. You know, it feels like he's
Exactly right, and plenty, I guess, of scope for kind of future games. If G4 is indeed a novelty, then it's the sort of thing that could easily be repeated at a even at a higher level with deeper analysis and what have you.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be lovely if he does a DVD on, or at least a YouTube on this. It'd be nice to hear if he's how far he's looked into it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, to be fair to Simon, he's good where he does show his losses too, as long as the game was interesting. And I don't think you could argue that this game isn't interesting.
No, absolutely. So I think if I was a betting man, which has been known to happen on occasion, I would put a little bit of money on him playing H4 here.
Yeah, I like H4 as well. I think it's right. You got to try and open some more lines in front of that king, right? You know, there's no G4 response because you're just taking it. So yeah, I like H4 a lot. It feels very natural. I guess we're just leaving our king where it is. Basically, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I think the ideas of Bishop D3 etc. are good, right? And knowing Simon's style, he'll try and play something weird like Rook B1 up to B4 and swing another Rook over, something like that, along the fourth rank.
Quite possibly. I think his initial intention will just be to take on G5 with the pawn, and rather than have the G file open, he wants the H file open.
Yeah.
Because if he has the H file open, then Bishop D3 is coming in, or Queen H5 is coming in. So
yeah, I'll be shocked too.
I guess the acid. No, it's not an acid test. It's just a rubbish. I think it's just rubbish. Is whether or not Adams could take on H4. No, that's rubbish.
No, that just loses straight away to Knight F5. I put that on fairly early because I just love the prettiness.
It loses maybe more stylishly to Rook takes G7.
Oh, just straight Rook takes as well. I think both moves are crashing. But yeah, you're right. This is more boom in your face. Obviously wins the queen.
Okay, so that is not a good plan.
Oh, it's wins the queen. Yeah, I thought it was mate for a second. So he's definitely not going to take if he plays it. So I'm sure it'll come with a sensible move. And you know what? Because it looks like Simon's having a good think about this. We can actually have a look at another game.
Yeah, let's do it. It's taken up all our time, but it's probably a good point to stop. And if there's fireworks come back on this board, then we can obviously come back.
Yeah. I mean, I have no idea how any of the other games go. So this is a little bit of pot luck of which one I choose. It's going to be.
Let's have a look. Let me just give me a moment. Just have a look at them.
Yeah, sure. That's a good idea. And in fact, I'm going to leg it to the toilet, so I'll be back in a minute anyway.
Sure. Well, to be fair, none of them look as interesting as the game we've been looking at, though. They're all they've all got queens still on the board. They're all at fairly early stages still. So I guess just whichever one Jack would prefer to look at, or any of you guys in the chat would prefer to look at of the other three games, just let us know.
Otherwise, we can just look at current position for all of them.
Yeah, we could just do that.
Let's do that. And then we
Okay, let's do that. Fine. So should we start with second seed, David Howe?
Yeah, let's go straight there. And he is white against one of the youngsters, the controversial selection process youngsters.
Controversial selection process, and both the youngsters won, didn't they? So
Maybe they were correct, right? It's a tough one to call. And at least for both I think Ravi in particular, did he not get the same score as Simon and Matt Turner anyway in the qualifier?
Don't know.
I'm pretty sure he did, and I think it was all on the tie breaks because a few players got the same score, I think, and I think even Keith Arkle also qualified, but again, one of his. This is the weird thing about chess and tournaments, and I'm sure you've got stories about this. But one of Keith's earlier opponents withdrew, and it changed the tiebreak completely.
Ah, okay.
So that seems pretty unlucky. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's very unfortunate.
And I think that's part of the reason why he got.
there's quite a few different types of tiebreak that can be used. I don't know what tiebreak they were using there. It'd probably be something to do with the kind of relative scores of the opponents. That's the one that's normally used.
Yeah, I think that's fair as well,
in
because
some format.
Because certain wins are worth more than others, right? Though I do like head-to-head records as well, but I guess if you don't play everybody, it's a bit unfair as well. So it is tough.
Yeah. Okay, so here we have, what I like to do when I get, and I always try and tell my students this, anytime you get a position on the board, you start by doing a material evaluation, then you move on to any kind of positional features that you think are relevant, let's say. So here we've got 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6.
I'm ahead of you. We've got equal.
We're equal.
While you were explaining it, I was like, I'm going to do that.
Yeah. So again, we've got a king, which doesn't look altogether safe on f2. I would say Ravi's king on g8 is a little bit more comfortable.
Agree.
Shall we say?
Yep, I agree.
And that might give black some tactical opportunities, because that bishop on b7 could be opened at some stage. I was wondering, for example, about whether or not he could do something sneaky like, I don't know, queen f5 or queen h3 and prepare to play knight g4 check. Be quite interesting.
Yeah, that's a tactic in the position, definitely. That's a nice little move, that.
In fact, just look at that for a minute. Just queen g4, queen f5, sorry.
Yeah.
And then if queen takes c4, which was what I thought was going to be the refutation.
Yeah, because that's what I was going to mention, and that pawn's pretty loose, but maybe not in this line.
So if queen takes c4, now if we could just deflect that
queen
somehow. So I was looking at rook c8, and I was looking at bishop a6 as well as possible moves. I think the problem is that queen f4 just keeps everything nicely together.
Are you ruining all our fun? It's like you came up with the fun and then trashed it.
I was trying to. I always like to try and get the fun, and then there has to be some sort of level of realism, shall we say?
You can be here for the realisms. I'll go for the fantasy, and you can just cut it down. I don't mind. I like my moves being cut
even
down.
if, let's say, black did play rook c8, so rook a c8.
Yep.
And white played queen f4. Which looks sort of, to me, to be almost...
Well, it definitely keeps the knight g4 idea away.
And then let's say black just moves the queen somewhere active, like, I don't know, c2 or something.
c2, yeah, let's get into the position. But then white is a pawn up in this position. That's the only downside. So we're not crashing through.
Exactly. White's a pawn up, but black has a certain degree of compensation, I would say, here.
Yeah, king safety's got to count for a partial pawn, right?
Yeah, it might be the case. It might be the case that king is safer on f2 than we're giving it credit for.
Yeah.
And David is such a kind of strong calculator that he's probably got something else, maybe even something else in mind. I don't know, but this looks a little bit uncomfortable for white, maybe.
So we defend the b pawn.
Okay.
And what's black's follow up?
Good question. I wondered if he might just play. Well, I wanted to be dynamic, but whether or not it's a good move, I don't know. I wanted to be dynamic and play something like e5.
Well, you're pretty safe here. I'll probably not refute anything you come up with.
Yeah.
Sorry? E5, just e5 here, right? Okay, yeah. So I thought you were saying queen e5. I was like, nah, that doesn't look good.
Well, what about e5?
Yeah, e5 looks positive. What are we trying to do? Are we trying to deflect the queen somewhere, or?
We were just trying to open up a file, and my idea was that he couldn't go queen a4 because of rook takes c3, winning a piece.
Yeah, definitely. And we can't take the pawn?
Yeah, why not? Have a go.
Yum, yum, yum. I'm the Pac-Man of this game.
Indeed. Now, queen takes e5, but then if I now stick my rook on e8...
Yeah, another piece coming into the attack.
They're starting to worry me, some of these...
Yeah, you want him to sack that rook for the bishop at some point, yeah?
Yeah, I've got a few different things I want to do. I sort of wanted to take on f3 as well, and bring your king up, and then I could check you on f5, for example, and take your bishop if you move your queen too far away.
Yep. Yeah. There's sacks on c3 as well. I was just looking at all of this because, like, I want to play queen f4, but I'm worried about you taking my knight, and then your knight coming into
and then
d5.
playing knight d5 or something. Yeah.
Just rook takes here, and then I'm.
This feels also very very scary because your idea might just be winning, or very close to winning. Let's have a look. Knight d5.
Then I don't know. Can I just move the bishop, maybe?
Well, you can't move the bishop because you lose your queen. But you might be able to move your queen.
Yeah, queen's attacked. That was the whole point, wasn't it, Adam? Can we play...
But you could move your queen because the bishop on b7 is under attack as well.
Oh yeah, the rook's attacking it. That's a good point, yeah.
But then again, then the e-pawn is under attack if you took on e3 with the rook. So this is such a crazy position, but I feel black should be doing quite well.
I mean, it's easy for white to go wrong, and let's put it that way.
Very, very scary, I would say, this position.
Okay.
So I don't think this is going to happen. I wondered if back in the initial position, and maybe we're going to be knocked out with a move or something. Yeah, okay. So he didn't play queen f5.
Okay.
Which is a bit of a shame. But I was wondering if after queen f5...
Sorry.
Maybe David would have just played something much more kind of practical and maybe just pushed his king across to g2.
Where have I gone here? So queen f2, black played rook c8.
Yeah.
Now we're waiting.
I just wondered if instead of rook c8, if queen f5.
Instead of, sorry, yeah, let's do that. Queen f5. I like queen f5. It's a shame. I like your little sneaky knight g4 maneuvers.
I guess though, as I say, I guess white might have just gone king g2.
Oh, just move the king straight away.
Just move the king. I know you could still play knight g4, but then the bishop would just run away somewhere.
Well, run to west.
Put it on g1, let's say.
Let's go g1.
Looks a bit passive, but it takes it away from any attack.
Yeah, where else could we put it? I really don't like that atom. Just that.
Yeah, actually. And now, for example, black could play knight e5, couldn't he?
Yeah, this is again. This knight is a tricky piece. Yeah, it's starting to look. F3
so that's a little
scary.
bit. That was a little bit of a shame. I mean, maybe the idea would have just going to get shot down somehow by the computer. Computer was just wanting to take on c. Computer was wanting to take on c4.
Oh, hang on a minute. What, after knight g5, g4?
No, after queen f5.
So the line we kind of looked at.
The line we kind of looked at, and it wanted after queen. So it was rook c8, rook a c8, queen f4, which is what we thought.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to play queen c2, or we wanted to play queen c2.
Yeah. But
okay, but then there's a tactical. There's a slight tactical problem, which is that after queen c2, rook h to c1.
Rook h to c1. Ooh. Really?
I'm not sure you can take on b2 because rook a to b1 would then win the bishop.
But you wouldn't take that pawn, yeah. I mean, that's right, isn't it? That is right.
Yeah, but then the whole point of queen c2 is kind of, it's defunct. It doesn't seem to work. So. Yeah,
I mean, what we gained, we put the rook on the c file for white, which probably wants a rook there anyway. So definitely, I guess. So if we take this pawn, you're saying, no, the pieces.
It's not complete. It's not completely losing, is it?
You're just putting your queen back, though, aren't you? It's going back to what, g6? Otherwise, it's just.
Yeah, otherwise it's going back to g6.
Yeah.
This isn't what black wants.
No, not at all.
So I'll tell you what. Let's move on because there's been a little bit of action in Simon's game. So.
Oh, we're coming back to side. We will try to get to the others.
We could go through the other two games first.
Yeah, I mean, Simon's game, no offence to it, it's going to take some... I think he's going to slow down a lot now just to get...
What do we think about this position? What do you think, Jack, about this position that we've got on the board just in Ravi's game?
After rook d1, I would say... I like black. I like king safety, and I don't know, there just feels like there should at some point be a way for black to generate something. I even kind of like the way he's greedily holding on to the c pawn. I don't know, just that white queen feels a little bit offside for defence. So I don't know. Yeah, I like the feel of the black pieces. I feel like they're all in very, very nice squares. I guess the job for black is how do you make them even better, and
I guess the other job for black is to try and avoid exchanging off the queens.
Yeah, because the ending's going to be pretty bad, right? Because that c pawn's going to be...
The ending's going to be definitely unpleasant. So
and the king on f2 would be great then, right?
Yeah, so maybe queen b5 at some stage comes into consideration for white. Maybe even here it comes into consideration.
So black will be trying to look to stop that, I guess. It's got one move now, I guess. You could play bishop c6 or something weird like that. I don't know. I mean, these are those positions where you pick a side you want. And which side? I'll throw it back to you, Adam. Which side would you pick?
I think I would at a push. I would probably take white, but very, very no real confidence. Just in the sense that I reckon I could probably find a way, because the rook on a8's not quite in the game yet.
Yeah.
Maybe a way to exchange off the queen somehow, but.
Yeah, I guess white's plan's a little bit easier in one way, because it's swapping off queens and maybe trying to hoover up that c pawn somehow. I don't know. A couple of options.
Black is sort of needing to get some tactics working, perhaps.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll see how that one develops. I'm glad we both picked opposite wings there. That makes sense. I'm not being swayed just because you're stronger than me.
No, don't. And I'm sort of being swayed by the fact that David's stronger than me. So
I like that. Okay, so this is the Gawain Jones Alan Merry game. So Alan's probably a little bit tired from finishing at 10 o'clock last night.
Absolutely.
Probably not the best thing to then get Gawain Jones as black in the morning.
Well, he knew he was going to play somebody really good, so.
Yeah, no, none of them had any.
I don't think any of the four options were particularly pleasant.
No, I think for the four people that got through yesterday, I think all they had in their mind was, well, I'm going to get a shot at someone really good, right? I mean, that's the attitude you should go in with.
And they're all probably very happy to have crossed that mark, got through, and
this is it. If we're going to use.
And now relax exactly and play and just try and enjoy it. You've got a big payday, and
a shot of glory. You got a chance. You could take down one of the best players in England.
Indeed. So initially, as I looked at this position, I'm guessing it came about from a King's Indian. It looked that sort of type of position.
Benoni.
Sorry.
Could be a Benoni.
Yeah, you're right. Could be a Benoni. My looking at the position for the first time, I thought, wow, this is really horrible for black.
It looks a little bit, when you've got a knight on e8, it's not the best place for
it. But that's I think quite yeah, I think you're right. He was a Benoni, and the knight sometimes does go back there to guard against the weakness. But white has got lovely control of the file. He's got a very good knight on c4.
Yep.
And black doesn't really have any attack to speak of or anything like that.
He's going to try b5 at some point, obviously. I don't know.
That's obviously what he would like to do. But even b5 comes with its own kind of drawback in the sense that you're opening the a file for your opponent's rook.
Yep.
And you're also giving away control of the c6 square. So it might be the case.
I was thinking that. How'd you get there?
Well, you just go via a5.
Oh, okay. Yep. Nice and simple.
So it's not immediately obvious. And it's not obviously even his go, but white could, for example, just fix that, couldn't he? He could play a5 and stop Alan from ever even thinking about b5. Although it doesn't, he could still play it, I suppose.
I think you kind of have to, because if black doesn't do anything here, he's going to get a bit stamped on, really. I think he's just going to...
But I don't know if he can play it here, because the a6 pawn just gets so weak.
Yeah, that queen on e2 is doing a good job.
So the other option for Gawain there was to consider whether or not really be a little bit more forceful and play queen e6.
Oh, queen straight in, yeah. Is the ending... I guess this is again what I was saying yesterday. How do you judge if the ending's good for you or not?
Well,
because there's so many pieces on the board.
He can't take the queen, can he? So...
No, because there'll be a full
he's going to have to maybe play something a little bit more grovelly, like maybe he could play knight f8 and try and exchange the queens in a circumstance which favours black, in that he'll repair his pawn structure a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, for complaining about black's cramped position, etc., I mean, they're not doing a terrible job over by the king, are they? I mean, that looks like a fairly safe king. And with the knight on e8, I was thinking, well, the rook on b8, though you want to play b5, his army was sort of cut in two, which I'm guessing isn't something you really want to happen in chess.
Actually, now I look at this position, I'm wondering whether or not there's a tactic here where where white can take on g6.
Yeah.
And if black takes back in the way that I think he would like to, which is with the pawn, then I wondered if rook takes e8 was annoying.
Yeah. Why? I mean, I would rather take with the knight, but that's
right,
for other
okay.
reasons. But...
That's fair enough. And maybe you have to take with the knight. But and it might be actually that your move is just much better than mine.
I see what you're doing here. I'm putting it on the board. It's very nice. Yeah, that does look very good for white. We've got pass pawn for one. I like that. That's always a good start.
Yeah, exactly. You got pass pawn. Although you are taking off that rather silly knight on e8.
Yeah.
It's probably. So I would say, if we just kind of generally speak about the position, I would say definitely it's more pleasant for white, but probably not kind of completely busted or anything like that yet. But I do feel a little bit uncomfortable about Alan's position if white was just to maybe play patiently with a5.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I think black has more things to look after. I mean, they say, don't they, that if you've got one weakness, you can probably look after it. But it feels like, you've got d6, you've got f5, and potentially there's something bad happening on the queen. So it feels like there's 2.5 issues in the position. And what's white's issue, really? I mean, he's not going to get mated on the g file. I mean, I'm guessing that may be an idea why he's playing, well, apart from stopping the queen coming in, I guess. Rook f7, he might be trying to play it to g7 and try anything. I don't know. What does black do?
Yeah.
Tough one. I mean, in this one, and knowing Gawain, his games.
Another idea might be just to shift the queen off the e file and put the rook on e6.
Yeah. The rook looks well. I mean, you have to definitely can't ignore it, can he? If he does it. So where would we put the white queen if we were going to do that?
Could we put it on f3 maybe, just to keep everything else under control?
Look after everything.
Look after the knight maybe, and then just play rook e6 and intend to double the rooks.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the rook on a1. Yeah, get involved very quickly.
It might be that black now has to play something like knight to c7, which would stop the invasion of the rook for the moment.
Yes. That's a weird place to...
That looks like a sensible move, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Because you're also kind of eyeing up the d pawn at some point as well. Yeah, I quite like this. And potentially helping you play b5. That's a nice move.
That might also be another quite reasonable move if white was to play a5. Then if that knight does get to c7, it might jump into b5.
Yeah, that's not a terrible square, is it? Because it may be getting into d4 then, right?
Might be getting into d4 at least, and then kind of disrupting the white queenside knights.
Yeah, then you'd start feeling a lot more comfortable as black because your pieces are not on the back rank.
although in this position you might have to worry about rook e6 again.
So rook e6 straight away. Well, I've got just move the queen somewhere, I guess. Where are we going to move it though? That is the question.
Yeah.
Yeah, this still looks... Yeah, I like this rook e6 idea. It's nice.
I guess the queen could go to g4.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you look at this position a few moves ago where both black's knights were on the back rank, pretty much, this is looking a little bit more healthy, isn't it?
It is and it isn't, because you're also undefending pawn on d6, for example, so that d6 pawn is mine if I want it.
Yeah.
But in exchange, you might get some counterplay because your bishop is active, and because, so for example, I could maybe play something like knight takes b5, or queen takes queen first, let's say.
Yeah, you've got to watch out for your dark square bishop, eh?
Let's play queen takes queen, pawn takes queen, knight takes b5, pawn takes b5 and knight takes d6.
Yeah.
And then black can play rook takes f4, but it kind of feels a little bit suspicious because the rook is lined up with the other rook. So rook f4, maybe bishop g3 is annoying.
Yeah, that does look a little bit...
It's a bit scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because the pawn on b5 is dropping with the tempo as well. If the bishop does get to g3, I don't know. Maybe there's a way here that Alan can kind of diffuse the initiative. Maybe rook to b4 or something.
Yeah, I literally played it as you were saying it. Yeah, I don't even know if this is any good. It may not be. Maybe you can just take on. Well, you're going to put your knight somewhere useful. Maybe knight f5 here. Maybe.
Yes, maybe knight to f5.
Okay, but
okay.
I think
Let's look at the last game.
Yeah, that looks like a nice position for Gawain. But it looks like it's going to take some good moves because it looks like we found an odd couple of moves where black looks all right. So McShane versus Hawkins.
Okay, so this game I would guess of the 4 games is the one where the lower rated player is the one who has the best chances.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
I mean, Hawkins did well to come through yesterday in a game I guess he would expect to win under the kind of normal time controls, but he won it in the rapid play. I didn't see the rapid play, so I don't quite know what those games were like.
I know he won 2-0, but I don't know how it went.
So firstly, it's quite interesting that Hawkins is playing e4 in this tournament. Both his games have been with e4. Yep. I always thought, and I could be wrong, but I seem to remember he was more comfortable as a d4 player, but it might be that he's just trying to switch things up.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to play as much as he used to either. I don't know if is he just coaching more? Do you know?
I think he is doing quite a bit of coaching in London schools. He has obviously got his GM title, and every time he plays sort of for NCL, for example, he seems to just he plays for a strong team, Cheddleton, and seems to just dispatch kind of 2,400 players with ease.
Oh, wow.
And that's why his rating continues to be kind of creeping towards the 2,600 level. But it doesn't seem like he is under any particular kind of desire, maybe, to just turn to the chess full time. So there's a point that maybe he doesn't fly. So
yeah, I just saw that from Aldo. Very interesting.
Yeah, it's harder, obviously, to get to tournaments if you're going long journeys on a ferry or a bus or what have you.
You're a star. But yeah,
so I've always been extraordinarily impressed by his chess and his levels of preparation and his work ethic. And he wrote an outstanding book as well.
I was just about to say that. Have you read any of IM? Was it Amateur to IM?
Yeah, I read quite a bit of it.
Yeah, I've got it. I've got a lot of chess books, though.
Yeah, me too. I've got a lot of chess books that I haven't read, and that's one of the ones I have actually picked up and had a look at. It focuses very much on the endgame and how to place certain types of endgame position, and is an instructive book, so I'd recommend it for sure.
Cool. The hero has some royalties for that, so when the sales go crazy now, they get 10 extra copies.
Then, yeah. Please remember me, Jonathan.
Right, so the game.
Okay, so what's going on? So we've got 5 versus 5, opposite coloured bishops.
Yep. There's not a lot going on, is there? To be fair.
Doesn't seem to be too much. Seems like McShane is doing pretty... Another player who obviously doesn't play a lot, but is extraordinarily impressive when he does. He keeps his hand in, not by playing in the for NCL in England, but by playing in the Bundesliga in Germany.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm always a little bit surprised when I see his name pop up and he's playing against the 2,700, etc.
Yeah, last weekend, for example, he beat Peter Liko, I think.
Yeah,
or
he
Peter
did.
Liko, and I think he may have lost to Svidler from memory, but I can't quite remember. But yeah, obviously he's still maintaining a fantastic level of play.
Yeah.
And it's great that he's kind of representing England again at major tournaments. He played in the Olympiad, right, this year?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Our team did really well.
And England obviously got a really good result this year, which was lovely.
Yeah, no, both our teams did particularly well. It was nice to see for a change. No grovelling around. If just to the game briefly, I'm thinking, have we got anything at all on these dark squares? Have we got stuff like maybe Queen F4, Bishop A3, back to D6, etc.? Or is this just like dreaming?
Probably as soon as you do that, I'll just play G3 and just kill off that diagonal.
Sad chess bats are UK.
I would imagine this position is just very, very balanced, very equal.
Yeah, I mean, because White could do the same thing, right?
I could easily see them agreeing to a draw very soon, actually.
Yeah.
Although I imagine they will play and maybe exchange off some rooks.
Could White try Queen E2 to E4 and try that?
Well, yeah, absolutely. But I guess, again, similarly, if you do that and I just play G6 as soon as your queen reaches E4, then the king is going to be comfortably placed on G7, just controlling all the pawns.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'll play here. Maybe something like, well, I don't want to fall into any nasty tactics. So, for example, here, this would be quite sad.
Okay.
If after Queen E2,
yeah,
Black was to play something like Bishop D4.
Yeah.
Which looks on the surface a good move to attack F2, but then Rook takes B8, takes B8, and Queen E8 check is nasty.
Yeah, that kind of check is the one you want in an attacking game of chess. But there you go. See, so maybe it's a full swim for White here. So that's good for Jonathan. Not at all, not even slightly. But yeah, so that's checkmate on the board. So yeah, okay. Well, I mean, Queen E2. You're attacking the bishop. It's not really attacking.
I guess it's defended twice, so he doesn't even have to move it.
Yeah, he doesn't have to move it at all. No. But I was just thinking, there's no Rook E8 or anything like that. So I don't know. Maybe White's got on the light squares a little bit faster, but there's probably nothing, like you say. Maybe not enough pieces on.
Yeah, maybe even just G6 straight away, just to stop any tricks at all.
Just to say, look, mate. I see your one idea in the position, and that's what I think of it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
So let's go back to Simon's game.
Yeah, I think we've put it off just about long enough. I'm hoping it will go to the position where we left it, but it doesn't often. I think it's going to go to current position. But I'm going to... Oh, no, it didn't. Good. It's where we left it.
Okay, so actually, the Queen H5 move was played.
Oh, okay, right. So
I would have lost my bet.
Wicked. How much would you put on it? Your house? Your...
No, not that much. Maybe about £5.
Okay, so it was a conservative guess at H4.
Yeah, £5 would have been about the limit of my gamble there.
Fair enough. You're a fiver down, never mind. You can survive that. So, how is Black going to respond to this?
Well, he didn't play our G6 move.
Oh. He played
Knight C5.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
So he's opened up his bishop, which stops... And Knight C5 is logical because it stops Barbary Macaque's Bishop D3 attacking idea.
Yeah, true. And it also
covers the F5 square.
Yeah, and also maybe at some point we've got a little hole for it on E4 as well. I'm not sure where it would ever go there. Well, actually, no, it looks nice on E4, attacking the C pawn. Maybe we can play F5. Just go gung-ho. Attack!
Yeah, you love that, but maybe not here. Maybe we can't quite get it in. We're realistically here.
Aww.
So Simon has to decide now, and between taking on G5 with the Queen, taking on G5 with the Rook, or pushing Harry up the board anyway.
Yeah.
I guess that would have definitely crossed his mind again. Unfortunately, I think if he pushes Harry now, Black might just go G4.
Oh, is G4 working now, is it?
Well, it's guarded by the bishop now, so...
Oh, of course, yeah. Yeah, that was the problem previously, wasn't it? It could just yonk it off. Yeah, that looks like a...
I mean, it does give away the D5 pawn, which is not nothing. But,
yeah, but
then maybe something like Rook D8, putting the Rook on a good square and eventually developing that bishop somewhere.
All right, well, let's have a look. May as well have a look. Rook D8, yep.
Or Bishop E6 as well. I wondered about.
I like Rook D8. It looks getting your Rook out for nothing. And where's that Queen going?
Well, maybe back
to
H5.
With no threats of knight e4, is that actually coming good now?
Or even I was now wondering about queen e4 might be a nice kind of... Oh no, queen e4 blunders a piece. That's not a good move. That's not good.
Don't drop your knight on c5. It's probably need it. But just knight e4, I don't know.
Knight e4, but then maybe bishop to d3. Is that at all annoying?
Can we just move the king after the check? Is it mate? If it's mate, then of course.
It's mate,
Yeah.
It's mate. But black could probably play knight f6 here.
Let's come back.
And kind of control everything with that pawn on g4. It's not completely clear to me whether swapping the d5 pawn was helpful for black or helpful for white. I would guess it was helpful for black, but not with the masses of conviction.
I don't know what's going
But
on.
no, knight f6 is a bit annoying because then rook d5 can happen and the queen is just getting a little bit short of squares.
Yeah, sorry, my PC froze for a second, so it didn't want me to play knight f6. But yeah, knight f6 looks perfectly good here. I mean, that queen is actually running out of decent squares, right? As in, like, if you want to continue attacking.
Yeah, might have to start travelling over to the queen side, which is not, I don't think, where it really wants to be.
No, I agree. No, this would be good play for black, definitely. For that pawn. Because that king is still not safe at all. It'd probably end up being black attacking eventually. Feels like that kind of switcheroony on the position. So
okay,
yeah.
so Simon actually liquidated into the endgame.
I was going to ask this question before. I mean, someone in the chat already told me it was in an endgame beforehand. But I was actually thinking, would it actually be so bad to be in an ending here? Because that pawn on d5, I don't know. It just feels like perhaps something we can get to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess it could always be exchanged maybe for the pawn on c3. But so queen takes g5, queen takes g5, rook takes g5.
Is that what happened? Let's have a look.
I think so.
Sorry, it's going a bit slow. But
oh,
yeah.
You're going to be so happy in a minute.
Wicked. Hey, f5. That does already me happy. Bishop g2. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like white's actually doing all right here. I really don't think that d pawn feels safe.
Well, now actually, after knight e4, Simon has to exchange the bishop for the pawn, bishop for the knight. So the d5 pawn is eliminated because it goes to e4.
Ah, yeah.
So how do we think about this endgame then? So bishop d4, bishop g2. Oh no, that's already happened. Bishop g2, knight e4.
Yeah, he takes it.
Bishop takes, pawn takes, and rook b1.
Oh, rook b1. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
I kind of like that. I was toying between rook b1 and maybe just playing king e2 and rook g1.
Yeah, going for the attack.
Yeah, for the Gary.
Probably though, if you put your rook on g1, I'm going to 7, and you might not have any realistic attacking chances. Whereas the rook on b1 might go up to b5 in a minute.
And it makes the bishop wait another move before it comes into the game as well. I like rook b1.
I like rook b1 as well. So, are we fairly safe in saying here that Simon's not going to lose this position?
I really hope not. You know, it doesn't feel like he's in danger.
Don't want to tempt fate, but I like his position. I know he's got a slightly worse pawn structure, but the knight on d4 is nice. It's a real kind of
it's a hero,
rock solid, if you like, and it will mean that he can always put his king on, let's say, d2 later in the end game, or e2 or what have you, and not have to worry too much about his king.
Just a quick one on that actually. I think this is a stronger player thing. Did you say d2 first just to stay off the light squares?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I would have thought so.
Because I immediately was like e2, and I was like, and when you said d2, I was like, actually, yeah. Then I'd have to worry about bishop a6 coming and this, that, and the other.
There's probably not loads in it, so I was wondering if black would maybe play something like b6, but he might not have time for it. It depends a bit on whether rook to b5 is really, really strong or not.
Yeah, I mean, that looks like a very nice move. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking black hasn't even it's not, again, it's one of those, it's not one problem, a bit like Alan Mary's position. The bishop c8 is a problem. The pawn on f5 may be a bit loose.
I think that pawn's going to have to move. I mean, I can't see it staying on f4 for very and on f5 for very long. So I think that might be sensible in kind of conjunction with playing b6, because if you can play f4 and b6 and bishop a6 and take on e3, and I know that sounds like a lot of different things, but then at least you've got some activity against the king, haven't you? Because you've got rook f1 check coming.
Yeah, I think again that's a thing that beginner players, they get really uptight about. It's like, oh, it's an endgame, it's boring. It doesn't have to be. It can be, you know, you can still get big attacks on kings just because the queens are off the board. You've got to stay positive, right? And keep looking for the little traps.
So I was wondering, in respect to that, let's just say black plays f4 here.
Okay, let's stick it on the board. Hang on. Yep.
Now that's sort of weakening a little bit, because now the pawn on e4 is bit sensitive to attack with something like rook e5. I'm not saying rook e5. I thought probably White would like actually to take that pawn.
Really?
On f4.
What's the threat? Why can't we just allow that pawn to be there?
The reasoning was just so that the f file isn't open. Let's try your rook e5. Let's see if that works as well.
Okay, I quite like this. And then because we've allowed f4, are we taking, or are we pushing into f3 and trying to cause trouble by getting a rook down to g2 at some point, if possible?
Okay, it wasn't 6 free moves in the chat.
What was what?
I was getting told off in the chat for suggesting for 6 free moves for Mickey.
6 free moves. Yeah, it's probably a little bit unfair.
It wasn't 6. It was only about 3 or 4. But
it was 3 ideas.
I
don't think you were giving moves. I think you were just giving ideas. No, I don't think that's.
I was just giving an idea.
Yeah. I'm defending you there, son. That's not right.
Let's say, for example, now I take on e3.
Yep. Take back, I guess.
Okay, and let's play. Shall I go with my b6 plan, or shall I go with my bishop h3 plan?
We're taking back on e3 first, right?
Yeah.
Right, good. Just making sure I'm not off the plot here. So we are.
Now, can I do something sacrificial? Can I go bishop h3? That's what I want to play.
I want to play bishop h3.
That threatens to win your rook.
Yep, with just simple rook f1 check, winning the rook on b1. So I can't take the pawn yet.
So I thought you would probably take on b7.
Yep, that looks like a very sensible idea.
I'll give you a check on f1 and double my rooks.
Okie dokie. So my king is going to go to d2. I'm guessing slightly safer than maybe getting mated.
Probably.
I was thinking on e2 you might just be mating me. At least I can block with the knight this way. And then I was thinking here rook e to e7.
Absolutely, and we're talking about rooks on the 7th rank yesterday.
Yeah, we did, and we had a nice. Even when it was a game that wasn't really the game, it was fun to do. We had both double rooks on the 7th.
So,
because you don't quite have enough time to play bishop g4 here, do you? After the rook coming down.
Yeah, this might be
might be level.
Might be level. Don't know. Yeah, because you could play, for example, rook on f1 to f2 with check.
And then king c1.
And then I thought maybe rook to g2 was annoying.
Maybe not, actually. Maybe just knight e2.
Then if knight e2, I wondered if rook d8 check was annoying.
d8.
But
I'm always threatening to take the g pawn. No, am I just? Can I just move my king away? I can go to. No, I can't because that's mate. I was just about to go to e1.
Yeah, you have to go to c1.
Okay, yeah. And do you have time to take that knight? I don't think you do.
It might be a perpetual. King c1, rook takes knight.
Yeah,
rook takes q7 check.
Yeah.
King f8 to avoid the fork, and then rook on b7 to f7, king e8, rook to e7.
Yeah, this is just a draw.
Well, we say it's just a draw. Is it just? Can he play for more? Can Simon play for more? Just go back one move.
After king e8.
After king f8.
Oh, sorry. a bad
No.
callback.
I wondered if he could play rook h7.
Rook h7, attacking the bishop.
But then bishop e6 is annoying.
Oh yeah, then there's no more. Yeah, because you're defending. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, and then you're defending the rook h8 check and probably causing trouble on a2. Yeah, this looks suddenly good for black.
And he's gone f4.
Really? Oh, great. Okay, cool. Let's go straight there. It's good play by Mickey. I like it. Causing Simon some issues because I don't know. I mean, Simon. I mean, from our feel of this, I know I'm taking a lot of this from the way you're talking about it. White's maybe got a slight initiative here because of the better placed pieces.
Absolutely, absolutely. He's ahead in development, isn't he?
So would you be? Do you think Simon would be upset if it's just petered out to a draw, or would he just be like, "Oh well"?
I think this is one of the few times that I think he would be very happy, first of all, to get this position.
Yes, I mean, if you woke him up this morning,
if he's got waking up this morning, he's got a bad record against Mick. He's probably just happy to have cleared the first hurdle, shall we say, and he's got a position where he is definitely got winning chances.
Yep.
Definitely got winning chances, and that is not easy to achieve, especially with a slightly unusual opening that he's played, which is a little bit weakening, but obviously has worked out pretty well in the sense that he's got a decent position.
Yeah.
So he's just got to be a bit careful not to do something silly now, I would say, and allow too much activity for black. I should think he could do that in a few ways. But that last line we looked at did kind of highlight there were a couple of dangers.
Yes, definitely. There's some definite.
And as I say, if the bishop was on a6, then some of those dangers would be even greater.
Yeah.
Because the knight wouldn't be able to block on e2, for example. So that's why I wanted to take on f4 in this position.
Okay, yeah, we didn't even look at that.
Closed.
Let's have a look at that now. And then rook takes, I guess.
And then rook takes, yeah, exactly. And then I wondered about something like, I don't know, king e2 maybe?
King e2. We're going to light squares now suddenly.
I wanted to go to d2, but of course that would allow rook takes f2
it has
check.
a small drawback, yeah.
So I think Simon's done something similar to my idea, but maybe just a little bit more accurate.
Okay.
And it might not matter. Which was to go
first.
king d2 straight away.
Yeah. I'm at a live position.
So his idea is that if pawn takes pawn, he's going to take that with his king.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he's not going to allow any checks.
Yeah,
and that king on e3 will, as long as the knight can sit on d4, is going to sit happily.
White looks great here. Definitely from the lack of losing options, and definitely because that e pawn looks really weak. I mean,
exactly.
that knight.
I mean, if we'd be looking at this position and we'd switched the two players over,
oh yes,
we would be saying here that Mickey is playing kind of a brilliant game and is probably outplaying him and is going to win the end game without too much trouble.
I think that's right. I think you like you mentioned earlier, you get very biased for the better player, right? You can't help it; it's natural.
Yes, and so I don't think Black can be feeling completely comfortable here. So he's got to find a way of causing some trouble, or else he's just going to get those pawns picked off, I think.
Yeah, no, I totally. I really like King D2. Now I see it on the board. It's
So let's see. I mean, there's probably a kind of calm way of doing this. He needs to get his bishop out. So B6 would definitely come into consideration.
Well, let's play B6. It's just not. You're right. Okay. He does need to do something about that light square bishop. He can't stay on C8 forever because he's playing a rook down, right? Even any type of position, you don't want to be playing a piece down.
Now, can Simon in this position just snatch a pawn? Could he play rook G1?
Rook G1, yeah. This is an earlier idea that I
like.
After
rook F7, he'll just take on F4.
Because of the overloaded defender, as they say.
Yeah. And then the problem that Black has is that king will come to E3 and guard the pawn and attack another pawn.
Yeah.
And the F pawn could be used as a weapon to go forwards as well.
Yep.
You could be your dream. The F pawn could get to F6.
Whoop. Go on, Freddie. They don't like 'em up. They don't like it up 'em. I know that's a real thing. They don't like it up 'em.
This is quite possible, isn't it?
Yeah.
It would be a bit. My one idea that maybe I had for Black was that he could play after EF4 in that line.
Oh, we're going back to that. I thought we were going back to B6 and trying again. I thought we just busted Black.
I just wanted to keep going a little bit longer.
All right, let's flog that horse until it's dead. So what were we doing? We were doing Rook G1 here.
Yeah, Rook G1, Rook F7.
Rook F7 defending the pawn. E takes F, yeah?
Yeah, E takes F.
Yep.
And my idea was I wanted to maybe put some pressure on your C pawn with something like, I don't know, Bishop B7.
You don't want to go to A6 and maybe get to D3? Is that completely offside?
Not really. I think the bishop would be badly placed there.
Sure, just looks active. And
it looks active, but then Freddie might start getting quite serious.
After Bishop B7, are we at all worried about Knight E6?
That's definitely something I was worried about. I'm also worried about F5 as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough plan to meet. I mean,
They both look very strong, actually. So this actually now is looking worse and worse for Black the more we look at it, right?
Yeah, I'll be amazed if Mickey goes down this line. I mean, it appears giving both moves as very good. I'm not going to go with what percentage of good it is, because as I've said before, Chess24 lies to me when it comes to computers, because I'm not a signed up member yet. Maybe for the next round. They give me a proper backup. This just looks good for White. I can't believe that Mickey will go down this route. So B6 is potentially not the solving of the light square bishop, but it's getting tough. I mean, how do we get that rook out? How?
Jack, just one thing in the chat, and maybe you could tell me about it. You should remove the Discord leave call thing under Adam.
I can try and do that. I looked at it, and then I stopped doing it just in case I cut you off. But yeah, I've done it. I'm amazed I managed to do that. Oh, someone's ringing the bell. I should probably let them in. It's probably my wife.
Oh, was that just a little?
Yeah, just a call thing. I basically took my mouse off it, and then it was okay.
I've gone.
Sorry, we need. Sorry, my wife just came back from my mum's. She says hi.
And she got a gift, so no green wall.
Okay, sounds like my Christmas present has been bought. Have I lost Adam? No way. That's devastating. Adam, you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think they said they lost you. I hope not.
So, okay, we can't do that then. Could we start with something better? Could we play something prophylactic, like Rook F7 to start with?
Start with Rook F7.
I've gone again.
Really? I mean, I can hear you. Maybe it's the stream.
You can't see me.
You're invisible. How did you do this? Hang on. There you are. The chaos that happens when someone rings the doorbell. You're back, and I can hear you, and I think everybody else can hear you.
Good. So Rook F7. So let's try. Should we play the same move? Should we play Rook G1?
Yeah, I don't know. This just seems really tough. I'm actually getting a little bit excited for Simon. I'm trying not to, but you know.
What's he going to do against Rook G1?
I don't know.
I'm guessing he's going to have to take that pawn on E3 at some stage.
Okay, let's solve that problem. And we're still going to take back with a king, right?
King takes, and then let's play something really calm like Bishop D7.
Just Bishop D7. Okay, we're no longer attacking the B pawn. Well, not that we were after Queen F, Rook F7.
And at least the bishop on D7 stops the knight jumping around, doesn't it?
Yes, there's knight. Yes, agree. But are we going to just take the E pawn? Oh no, because we lose the... Yeah, we can take the e-pawn, no?
You could take the e-pawn, then I wondered if I could give a check on e8 first
Well,
to
yeah.
gain a move.
Let's do that. And then king e3, d3, sorry.
Queen d3. And is
And I'll
there
say,
any...
I'm a pawn up. Yippee!
You are definitely saying that. Okay, we've got to update because
Oh,
we've
well,
had some moves.
Let's go to that.
So he took on took on e3 with check, and then he played rook f7. We
Okay,
might
so-
get you a line.
Yeah, so we're pretty much... Yeah, so I'd be shocked if we don't see either king takes... Or you can still play rook g1 first. It's got options.
So he's played king takes, and now we've had rook f7. So now,
Did he play king takes? Are you sure?
yeah.
Oh, sorry, no, I meant takes e4.
Oh, king takes e4.
Yeah.
I see. He
But he
probably
can't
won't
yet,
do that.
'cause-
He probably won't do that here, though, will he? Because
No.
then rook f2 will happen.
Yeah, exactly right. No, so yeah, be very surprised not to see rook g1 here.
Rook g1 makes a lot of sense.
I mean, Harry might get involved at some point, just because it's Simon. I don't know if he'll ever chuck that, because he's not going to chuck the f-pawn down the board now, but maybe Harry can come after rook g1.
It's quite concrete to play rook g1, though, isn't it? Because it does give the threat of rook king takes pawn.
Yeah, we just want to nab that e-pawn and say, well, Mickey, I know you're a really good grandmaster, but I'm a grandmaster too, and
Yeah,
I'm a pawn
you
up.
could also play here rook e5. Seems sensible to me.
Just try and hoover it up that way.
Yeah, go after it that way as well.
Yeah, it just looks like he's going to pick it up one way or another, doesn't it? Can he move his bishop yet? Where could he put his bishop? Oh, hang on a minute. Oh no, we're okay. I thought there was a bishop f5 at some point. I thought we were screwing our rooks. We're okay.
You see, I think he's going to have to try and target this pawn on c3 as some sort of compensation. So could he play bishop h3 maybe?
After rook
Got to
e...
stick it somewhere, haven't it?
Yeah, after
rook.
after rook e5, yeah? Well, I was thinking... Yeah, I'm with you.
Rook e5, bishop h3,
Yeah.
rook takes pawn,
Rook c8?
and rook c8, exactly. Now, does black have enough compensation for his pawn deficit? I mean,
Well-
the pawns for white are split, so...
And I think you're right. I think he can round up the seat. Can he play rook f to c7 at some point as well?
Yeah, quite possibly. So I guess Simon could play rook to b3 now to keep that pawn under control, couldn't he?
Yeah.
Um,
But I guess, he hasn't got a
Black
pass pawn.
Black is quite active, isn't he? I mean,
Yeah. And it's not a technical pass pawn, is it? Just because you're a pawn up in this position, there's no one he can just instantly push to get an advantage, right?
yeah, exactly right. I was even wondering here if Black should just maybe I don't know, just sit and wait almost.
And see what white can come up with, yeah?
I think maybe there's a better way to do it than because I think we both felt that rook g1 was probably a better move, right?
I like rook g1 a lot. I do like this move. Because you've always got rook e5 at some point anyway, right? So we can try this first, no?
Absolutely. So
Though I guess, what are we actually... We're not threatening to take that pawn, are we? Are we
Well,
looking
if they
to
take
chuck
an e-pawn.
Harry down the board? Is that going to happen? Oh yeah, we're going to win the e-pawn, sorry. That's why I keep you around, Adam. Just to keep pointing out the obvious things I keep forgetting. We do want to take that e-pawn. And I guess it's just how much of an edge he's got after winning it. But for me, it really does feel like Simon's got the draw in hand. And, it couldn't have gone better for him, really.
So is it something similar going to happen with a bishop coming out and then rook c8? That looks like the natural way to play. Should we try the same thing, bishop h3?
So why don't we like bishop d7 here?
No,
Because
real
we
reason.
can't bring the rook over. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Probably, yeah. It might be that he has to go back to d7 anyway. For example, if bishop h3,
Yeah.
and Simon, let's say, plays rook on g5 H5 to G3 to attack it.
Don't we want to leave our rook on G5 just because it might be coming to E5? Do we want to use the rook on G1?
Yeah, maybe.
I quite like the rook on G5.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. So if you played rook on G1 to 3, there is a nasty little trick, which is that black can play rook C8 anyway.
What, leaving the bishop on H3?
Yeah, because it's a skewer, right?
Takes. Oh yes, of course. Bang. Yeah, and the rook is gone.
Which is maybe quite an important detail. I don't know.
Yep. No, that's a very good point. Okay, so we'll wait for what what Simon comes up with. I suspect we're both hoping for rook G1. Seems to give a few more options. But should we have another quick look at the other games?
Sure. I'm just going to quickly go make myself a cup of tea. If
Oh,
that's
of course.
all right.
Do you know what? Should we take a 2-minute break anyway?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, sorry guys, we're going to take a 2-minute break. I'll leave it on, and then you can have a look at my lovely background, which is not a lot.
Yeah. If you can look at my lovely background.
Brilliant. Oh, you guys, let's go really well. Much better than this, I think. Got 50 views. I know, it's quite slow. So what did you do tomorrow? Did you eat?
I drink the croissants and the decorations. So the croissants are like the people.
For Marks?
Half a liter.
Little?
In Denmark they are good as well, so I expect to be okay. But it's a chain, yeah, it doesn't mean it's the same chef.
Aye? It's nice. Where is it?
It's for the lady says it's good for prawn cocktails.
Oh yeah, because you can put on the bottom. That's a good idea.
Are you doing prawn cocktails? I thought more about this, but it's been my idea for starters
Yes,
as well. 2 pounds. Shall I check?
Oh, so you've already been? Well, we're going to go again then. Or you
No,
can't?
it's from yesterday. She got a new kettle and
New cat.
kettle. This one is
Kettle.
called kettle. And a new bologna chip.
Whew.
She didn't tell me what you got, but she got you something.
Okay, I'll buy my own chair. It's okay. I like my chair. Right.
So I buy the other one and you buy the chair, or I buy both.
Either or, baby. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so still Simon thinking about his best options, which is definitely he knows he's got an edge here, so it's just a question of how many chances do you get against a player like Mickey Adams. So I'm sure he's going to spend a little bit of time here. I'm fairly sure he knows that he's not losing. Not losing, that's a stupid word. I mean, it's very difficult for him to lose. So I know I'm jinxing him a little bit, but he can't hear me, so that's all good. So let's have a look at the other games until Adam turns up. Well, Addo's saying there's been a move played. Rook BG1, good. Hallelujah. So yeah, we'll just see how Adams deals with this, because he's got to get that dark square bishop out. Sorry, light square bishop out at some point, and it's just where can he pull it? I think I can hear Adam coming back. I can't see him, but I can hear him. No, he's not back yet. Okay, cool. So yeah, I'm going to quickly have while Mickey tries to get out of that position, I'm going to go back to David Howe's game. We're just going to do current position on these because it takes Adam a long time to walk me through the beginning of games. So we'll just go for current position. Oh wow, this has changed quite a bit. I'm going to go back to the position that we last talked about at least. Which was, wow, after rook c8. So it's good because one of Adam's ideas was played here. So I'm going to wait for him to come back. And get some water. Careful, baby. Do you want me to do that? I'm talking about.
Yeah, but look where. Let's hope a nice
Like I say, all these games are pretty tense. I mean, for the competition for prize money ratio is actually really good. It's not often these guys get to play for this kind of money. I think winning yesterday put up the prize fund for the person who won by £1,000, and that's a massive difference. And I think in this one, if they win, it doubles. I think that's right. So it was 1,500 for the first round qualifiers, 2,500 for getting through to this round, and I think it doubles. I think it's 5,000 if you get through to the semi-final, which is like, you know, that's not peanuts. So you can understand the tension behind it all. Apart from the chess, you know, especially for some of the grandmasters that aren't full-time players, you know, that's decent cash. So they'll definitely be playing on their minds. So let's see. So after rook c8. They played rook ad1, and in this move is the move that changes things. Aldo's giving me an update of the Ginger GM game there. Yeah, we'll come back to it, don't worry. Bishop d7. Yeah, it made sense because, as Adam was saying, if it goes to h3, it looked like we could chase it around a little bit. But we'll come back to that in due course. You know, obviously, it'd be good to see if... I think David Howe's also a very likeable player. Obviously helps out in the Ginger GM and in Battersea as well. So, you know, another player who I'd like to see do well. Wow. H3. H3. I wondered about this. I was wondering if we were going to have something like, not H3, I was expecting H4. I was wondering if there was any mileage in H4 and G4 here. But obviously... David's decided that H3 is a better move. I mean, what I was thinking, sorry, I'll go to it, was if he had played H5, because you still, the point is that you cover, it's probably a terrible move, but you cover H4 so the queen can't get there, so there's no check after just playing something like G4, which is the other move I want to play. And I was just wondering how many squares the queen had. I mean, there's probably reasons why this is rubbish. I'm even looking at maybe knight check straight away is actually pretty good. Maybe it's not though. No, because you're attacking the queen as well, so no, it's okay at the moment. Because I was worrying about this bishop taking the rook, but it's okay because you're attacking the queen. So H3, that's interesting. Because I was thinking, no, what? You're not going to then play G4, are you? Because you're allowing queen H4 check. Or maybe it's just nothing. Maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe you just move your king to G2, I don't know. And then you play your bishop back to F2, maybe something like that. So we've got his queen out the way. Rook E6, very active. Okay, so counter attack. H5 in the position. It's getting exciting. Also, one of the problems with David Howe is he tends to get very, very short on time. I don't know if it's a disadvantage to him because he always seems to be short of time, but I don't know. That's right, yeah. I mean, Aldo's just pointing out the fact that he'll probably get really low on the clock and just win on increment, which is always very impressive to see. Just shows you how much he's worked out in the position. But you can't argue that Ravi isn't trying to win this one. I mean, like, moves such as H5. I mean, he's basically saying, I want to unnerve that king on F2. I mean, this is not a normal castle position for white. So I can understand the temptation. Is Adam back? Hello, Adam.
Hi.
Are you feeling refreshed?
Yeah, got a nice cup of tea.
That's much needed. My coffee's on the brew. I was just saying, this game's actually suddenly got really interesting, the David Howe one.
Yeah, Ravi's giving as good as he's getting here.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
A couple of moves ago, when he played E5, I think he was saying, "No, I'm definitely going to try here." In this position, this is right after where we last looked at when it was Rook on C8. David played Rook D1, centralising the Rook, and then Ravi played E5, which is an attempt to unbalance the position. Maybe just going gung ho, trying to play E4.
Mm. So why didn't he do it then?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? So, so yeah, and I didn't quite understand this move actually, and maybe you can help me out. Why David played H3 here? I don't know what he was. Is he worried about knight G5 at some G4? Sorry, at some point.
I think he wants to meet E4 with F4
Ah, yeah, that makes way more sense. Yes.
and not allow the check on G4.
Yeah, so yeah, that makes way more sense. Yeah, okay, that now it makes sense. So Ravi moved his queen. David got a nice rook installed on E6, and now Ravi's broken out with H5 by the looks of things. I like this this approach. You know, he's not going to sit there and go quietly into the night.
You didn't notice, but I got
You got my wallet. You took my wallet. That's very cheeky. Yeah, you got to be careful. Wives
Spend all your
around.
money.
Yeah, I'll check my credit card bill later on. I mean, she said she went to my mum's, but maybe she went to a diamond shop. Who knows?
I got one.
You
at
went
the
to your
coffee
mum's
day.
via the shopping centre.
Exactly right. Yeah, that's fine. I don't mind. You can't spend too much on
Okay, so
zeros.
there's a couple more moves. Then let's move on to Garwain's game because that is looking pretty much finished.
Oh, really?
And then we'll get back to our main focus.
Yeah,
So
well-
we had Queen A5, Rook A8, B8.
Not Alan Murray. Sorry. Gawain. I've got some bad news for you about the Gawain game. I can't find it. There it is. It was that game. Yeah. So what happened? So Rook F7, Rook D1, Knight C7. So he's doing your ideas that you were talking about. Okay, so Gawain's trying to get the Rook on D to E6 probably, right?
Okay. That could also swing over to G3 as well, couldn't it?
Yep, very true. So he sidesteps Rook E8. A pair of rooks have come off, and B5 played. He ignored it and played Rook G3. That does look like there's some sort of pressure coming down here. Actually, this is how many squares has that Queen got? Actually,
Not a lot.
oh, is this real? Did he sack his Queen?
So why did he sack his... Okay, is the point though that he's going to get his Queen trapped anyway?
Is that right?
Well, let's play... let's play, for example, if you go Queen H6, then you have Bishop G5, Queen H5. Oh no, that's still just about surviving.
Is it?
Just about. Queen H5.
No, we got Rook. Oh yeah, I was thinking we had Rook H3, but maybe not.
Yeah, so did I, but then he can go back to G6.
Yeah.
Unless there's some nasty...
Can we just take the D
Oh,
pawn?
you can just take on D6.
That's what I was just saying. Is this D pawn really? Is this just terrible for Black?
So
Probably
is
is.
he's just... Could he just not do anything? Was B5 just a blunder or what? Because this is just...
Yeah, I think B5 was definitely not the happiest moment in this game. Well, what does he
So-
play instead? That's just. We were saying this. Maybe Gawain didn't need to do too much just to tip him over.
Yeah, exactly. Just this rook coming to the G file,
So
and
really
we can
strong.
see here, unfortunately, although the knight C7, knight on C7 controls E6, as we said already, it doesn't control the D6 pawn. So
Nope.
there's just probably no way in any way.
Well, I mean, he's going to get a rook and a knight for the queen, I guess.
He is, but look at his pieces; they're very passive.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go to the position now. So
Okay.
let's have a look. So after H takes G, Gawain's noted that bishop, the knight on C7 is not stable. So where's that knight? He can. Still,
Oh, it's a cheeky little move, isn't it?
it is. What's the threat here? Can he? Does it? He has to move his D7 knight, does he? Is that real?
Yes, he does. And then there's going to be trouble on E6, is there? If he takes on C7.
Yeah, and maybe and then.
So is knight F8 forced? Did he play knight
He
F8?
probably does. No, he took. Wow, I think he's just like he's in for a penny in for
Oh,
a
he took on
pound.
C3.
I mean, maybe he took there first, but now he's got all his dark squares in trouble, no? And then he's played knight F8. So I just realised someone followed, and
What is the
the little picture that comes up to welcome them wasn't there, but it's sorted now.
Oh.
blue tag?
What tag? Sorry.
Blue tag.
Look, do you mind? I'm trying to, pass
You
off my
have
terrible,
it.
terrible knowledge of chess here, and
Okay,
you're
so
coming here
You tied the
asking
cards
me
in
questions. There you go.
Like, you have to.
We all always argue like that. It means we're in love.
It's not like I'm asking something.
So here we go. So he did play knight F.
So I would think maybe White could even just take a little time and play. Could he play even queen to E2 and just take the C pawn?
Oh wow! I mean, black just feels completely tied up. How do you stop anything really? I mean, the A6 pawn's going to go after you take the knight on C7. You got a passed A pawn with a queen. It's not the best position for black in this. I think it's. I don't know. I don't even know how you grovel on, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean he's going to try and take the D5 pawn, but that might not make his position any better because the queen. So queen E2, knight takes D5, queen takes on C4,
Yeah.
and then that's really annoying because anywhere you'd like to put your knight going backwards, you can't because the bishop will just take it, and the rook can't take back because it's pinned.
Yeah, exactly.
So
That
he'd
is-
have to go. You'd have to go into E3, for example, now with his knight, and
Just
then
take
I
the
guess you just take on A6.
Yeah, just take that A pawn. Just say, well, you're not
and
stopping
then
the
move
A
your
pawn.
queen, push the pawn.
Yeah, I mean you're taking on D6 next if you don't try and save that, and yeah, it's just I think Alan's going down, but he does have white in the next game, so he's got a chance to
Yeah.
save it. Okay, so that game's pretty done. We'll go back to Simon. Just to
What
see
about Hawkins? Should we
Oh,
have
sorry,
a quick
yeah.
look at Hawkins first?
Missed Hawkins, yeah, mainly because it was pretty dry, but maybe it
Yeah,
changed.
sorry, but we might as well, just for completeness sake,
Yeah.
have a look.
I'm with you. Did he play Queen E2? No. Okay, so this is the current position. So we did have some trades. What's going on here? Are we looking at just Rook C? No, we can't. I was trying to double up on the 7th, but it's not so easy.
Yeah, this looks still very dry.
Can we try and get our rooks up there? Can we play Rook D7 and Rook C1 to C7?
Yeah, you could certainly try that. Or do you want to go to A7 to attack pawn? What's better for you?
Yeah. I mean that's true. I mean it gains a potential tempi, doesn't it? Because
Annoyingly, though, if you put your rook, if you kind of disconnect, then if that bishop comes into D4 at a suitable stage, then the pawn on F2 is going to be very, very weak.
Yeah.
So, for example, I was thinking rook A7,
yeah,
rook B2.
just straight Rook B2, not Bishop D4 first. Does it matter?
I got a little bit scared of rook E to E7, although I might not need.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. This avoids that. Yeah, fine.
And then rook takes A5.
Well, that just loses to a fault, no?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, of course it does.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
I got one back at him. I think it's like 10-1 now for you.
Yeah, so actually you can't even take on A5, so that's annoying then, I guess, rook B2. So probably your move rook E7 was a better one instead of rook A7.
Yeah. Just with the idea of trying to swing a rook round. I don't think I've got time for any of this, by the way.
I think I'm going
You've got a
to
couple of
copy them because-
you've got a couple of cheeky little ideas. Well, you've got an idea maybe of going rook 6,
Rook where? Sorry, I missed that.
rook to E6.
Rook to e6.
For white.
Oh, sorry. Yes. There's a nice little pin there as well. Yeah, that d pawn is a little bit
if
awkward.
the bishop moves, you could then take on g6.
Yeah. Very nice. Yeah.
But it probably isn't kind of anything. Again, maybe rook b2 could just be done straight away. I don't know if it's too risky to give up that pass.
It's one of those things, isn't it? Activity versus activity, right?
Yes,
It's probably a better way to go.
Let's see. Rook takes d6, bishop d4. This is probably not what black wants to do. I don't think he needs to play like this. Seems quite risky, but just for now, I was thinking maybe rook f1.
Yeah,
although it looks very passive.
Rook f1 or rook e2.
The problem with rook e2, I thought actually, rook e2 loses immediately.
Yes, it does. Yeah, sorry, I've just seen why. Yeah.
Yeah. So the fork. So he'd have to go rook f1.
Yeah.
And then I thought maybe rook takes f2.
Oh yeah, nice.
Rook takes f2, rook b2.
Yeah.
But that's not completely finished because the d pawn is still alive and potentially running.
Would you not be consoled that it's opposite colour bishops?
You would definitely be consoled, and I would guess that black is well active enough here not to have any problems. It's just it might not be necessary to give away the d6 pawn quite so cheaply.
It didn't happen anyway. So Jonathan brought back the rook back to e4, and then Luke's played rook b2. So maybe black's a little bit more active in this way. I don't know.
I mean he's the one who maybe now has the ideas of attacking the weak pawn. So for example, rook d2 is something Wilkins will now have to think about.
Yep.
And then the other rook can come down. So.
Yep. He's seen that idea. He's played rook on 1 to e2.
Luke has got incredibly good endgame technique. He can make things happen sometimes out of very, very stagnant looking positions. A little bit like, I suppose, Carlsen does on occasion. Yeah. He's got that same
Carlsen of 4 years ago, Carlsen's favourite player.
Exactly. Carlsen's favourite player is Carlsen. But, it's not... He's a really big fighter, Luke, so I wouldn't say this is completely done yet, because...
He'll test him, but he's low on time as well, so I guess he'll be weighing it up.
Right, yes, he is low on time, but he probably can't be losing this position. If he, let's say, just exchanges the rooks and goes after some of those pawns, then there is definitely a test on here for white, I would guess.
Cool. Right.
Let's go to Simon.
I was going to say, I'm sure we're itching. We're itching as much as the chat are to look at the Simon's game. Don't worry. We're coming straight back to it. It's our main event. So after rook b to g1, Adams played bishop d7, which is the calm move we were thinking about, rather than wanging it down to h3 where it could get chased around potentially. And Simon took the pawn. Okay, so we're in a position where he's a pawn up, but we're not exactly sure how he's going to create a pass pawn. So the check happened. This is your line, I think. King d3, yep.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. He played rook... I always get my words tangled when two rooks can go to the same place. His rook on 8 went to e7.
Yeah, that's very natural. Now he's threatening to take the f2 pawn, isn't he? So
yep. So Simon played f3 to save the pawn.
Okay, makes sense.
And now we've got rook f6. What's rook f6 doing?
Rook f6.
Is he coming to a6?
a6 or h6? Take your pick.
Oh yeah, because he's going to go after one of these two wing pawns, right? I think he'd probably go for the a pawn, no, because then he'll get a passed pawn.
It might not matter very much, mightn't it? Because it g2, which guards both of them.
Oh yeah, he's got rook g2, which probably happens to be honest. But let's have a look. Simon went straight there. He's like, no, I'm getting there first. So he's got rook a5 in.
Okay.
So, okay, interesting. Very interesting. Mickey's played b5, which looks like he's sacking a pawn. Either of them. I'm guessing there's trouble on f3 if we take that pawn.
Yeah, and if you take the a7 pawn, there's trouble with a discovered attack with bishop f5 check. So
I'll put them on the board just to show. So if go all great, I've won a pawn here. You're probably in some sort of trouble. Actually, no, that doesn't even seem to be the best move. What's the best move here? Oh, just rook f5. Is that a pin? Does that work? No. What's the killer move here then? What am I missing? Oh, power cut. Good news is the laptop's still working, but my light's gone off. Oh well, I'm in the dark. I'll look more like a ghost here. But what's the killer move here then? Because it's saying black's really a lot better here, and it didn't seem to think it was that great after taking the pawn.
That's delicious. Rook a6.
Rook a6.
Delicious move.
Okay, see, I think Aldo saw that. Did you see Aldo's chat before you said that? I don't know who did.
I didn't see that move.
I don't want to give credit to the wrong person here.
Don't give me any credit. No, well done, Aldo. Rook a6 is beautiful. That's a really nasty little trap.
It's
the sort of pawn that you would feel uncomfortable about taking anyway, but Simon will be sick as a parrot if he takes that pawn.
Yes.
He will be raging.
So that's one pawn.
Simon, do not do it.
He can't take that pawn, and he can't take this pawn either, because there's a bishop check somewhere. Bishop f5 check, which picks up the rook. Actually, even here, the computer doesn't hate it. It doesn't say it's that bad for white. But you don't want to just give away the slight edge you've got.
No, exactly. I mean, you'll be in exchange for 2 pawns, won't you? Yeah. It might be holdable, but it's not. You don't need to do it. So why bother?
No.
I guess the problem in there is though that maybe this rook has now become a little bit sidelined for the moment, and it's
nice move by Mickey. I've got to say,
very nice move, and probably I would guess a move Simon had missed.
It didn't seem obvious. It was funny. I think it's one of those moves when you see it on the board, you're a bit like, oh yeah.
Do you remember his game against Harriet yesterday when he actually, after she played Queen A4, he played B4?
That's right, yeah.
In a similar sort of position. So the idea probably wouldn't be completely lost on him, and we might well be doing him a disservice by saying he missed it. But it's a little bit difficult to get that rook back involved now. That's the only thing.
I mean, something obvious like A4 just doesn't work. So yeah, maybe C4 then. I don't know how open we want our
I don't know if you want to. I'm a bit reluctant to kind of remove the defender of that knight.
Yeah, because that knight is pretty much the anchor that's making Simon Bella right at the moment. You don't really want to lose.
He played rook G2 just to guard the pawns, and maybe just to say to Adams, well, okay, what are you actually doing here? Maybe Simon can, for example, play rook A3 and rook B3 to reroute his rook back into the game. At least he didn't take on B5.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, he avoided the trap that that was a really nice spot, Aldo. Nice one, mate. He is actually quite handy, Aldo. He's almost beat Simon on many occasions, actually. He's Alekine's bum, or Alekin's bum, depending on how you want to pronounce Alekin, or Aliakin, which is another way of pronouncing it. And he's given Simon many a good match on 15 plus 10 seconds, so he knows his tactics as Aldo. I'm also thinking, is he not just trying to play rook b2 and then just trying to take the pawn that way?
Yeah, but I don't know if you even want to. I don't know if you even want to take that pawn. You just allow rook takes f3 check, and suddenly the rooks get active.
Okay, fair enough. I'm just trying to think of other reasons why rook g2, because is he just defending his h pawn and just like just
exactly.
saying?
I would have thought maybe rook h6 was in Adam's mind. Maybe perhaps he'll just now play king f7 and just not particularly kind of do anything other than just improve his king a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Simon doesn't have to. I think again, like this is a weaker player point of view. I always feel like I need to do something in a position. I always feel like I must make a move that looks like I'm going forward. Sometimes I guess you just got. Oh, I definitely need to learn this. Just to sit on a position and just wait, because you're slightly better, and maybe you need your opponent to go wrong. I guess this is how you spot like things like Zugzwang, which I never spot, by the way. I never know. Oh, actually, Black's got no good moves here. I'll just do a casual move to make it his move, So Perhaps Simon's
And
just doing the
also-
right thing.
Also, you would definitely, from the black perspective, if you looked at this position, you would feel, well, look, I'm a pawn down. I need some sort of active counterplay. Otherwise, I'm just going to be a pawn down and will probably go on and lose.
Yep.
And I suspect that that's what separates the likes of Adams from, I don't know, a kind of maybe a player like me or somebody like that who would just be getting maybe way too anxious about getting activity when, as you say, maybe there isn't any need to do so.
Well, that's good. That's good hearing that from you, because that, so it's not just the weaker players that suffer for it too. Or maybe it's a type of player. Maybe you just like, because you do find some really nice active possibilities in the middle game, dude. So maybe that's just that's your next step. Maybe you need to be the guy that needs to learn how to sit. But let's see.
So this game looks like it's going to be a long one.
Yes.
Like both sides have got a decent amount of time. In fact, Simon's up on the clock, which he'll definitely be pleased about.
I think they have to get to move 40 to get a load more.
I don't think they get a load more, do they?
I think they get another hour.
Really?
I think so. I'll move 40.
Well, that's not what happened yesterday.
No. I mean, to be fair, it'll be the second time that Chess Bomb site let me down a little bit. Because it told me it was a 10 o'clock start today, and obviously it must be like a European website.
Let me just check that, because it does make a kind of difference. I'm just going to have
No, Aldo's saying no more time, so that's fair enough.
Right.
I trust him.
We trust the guru.
Yeah, he knows his stuff. So just 90 plus 30, that's quite a nice time control actually. I quite like that. I think that's about right for a long time control. I thought the World Championship was a bit nuts. It just seems a little bit too long. I think that's something they could definitely tweak to make it better next time.
So when they get to the actual classical stage, oh no, that's rubbish. When they get to the semi-finals,
yeah,
it looks like it changes.
Oh, okay. Well, that kind of makes sense. I think they're going to have viewers as well. Are they? Because they're at the London Chess Classic now, right? They must be set up near the Open.
At the moment, they're in a hotel. They're not in the same place.
Okay.
In fact, they're being played in. I think they're playing it in a hotel, and then they're moving to Google's headquarters.
Ooh.
The semi-final.
Very la-di-da.
And then the final. Or am I talking rubbish?
I hope they have the final of the Classic, because I'm there next weekend. I'm playing in the Open of the Weekend Congress.
Okay, so after a preliminary round, top 4 seeds join in the quarterfinals. After the semi-finals at Google's HQ, the final will take place at Olympia. So it's only actually the final which is going to be at Olympia.
I think that's what happened last year. I vaguely remember seeing... who was in the final last time, actually? I can't even remember. Was it David Howe and Luke McShane?
I think it was McShane and... Yeah, was it Howe? Who won?
I can't remember. That's bad, isn't it? It's only a year ago. And I was there. Still
I think it was it Nigel Short in the final?
Was it Shaw? Yeah, he has been. So I don't know. I can't remember.
We don't know is the answer.
No. Aldo. Where's Aldo? He seems to know all the facts. So this game is going to slow down, I think, as you say.
This game is going to slow down, and I'm actually going to go off on a break shortly. But Gawain Gawain's going to win.
Yeah, it looks like it.
David
apparently has an edge as per Chess 24.
David has won a pawn somehow.
Oh wow, yeah. Wow. His king is still surprisingly safe on f2. I like that. I kind of like that. If you could just leave your king on f2 the whole game and say, yep, better place than castling.
That was quite interesting, because in Ravi's game, if you just go back a few moves to the position after Ravi played rook b8.
Yep, I'm there.
So he was almost goading David into taking the pawn, and David just took it.
David said, okay, thanks, don't mind if I do.
And there's a pretty, and I'm just cheating slightly here, but there's a pretty computer line which might have been the way for Ravi to go.
Okay.
Which is to clear the second rank for his rook with bishop takes f3.
Oh wow. I guess f takes.
Yeah, bishop takes, e takes, rook takes, b2 check,
Spectacular. Knight
and
blocks.
then you're going to
Rook
have to move your piece in the way.
Which one? Knight or the rook?
The
bishop.
You can't put the knight in the way because of knight e4 check.
Oh, blimey, yes. Yeah, that's a nice
So you have to play something else. I don't know, rook. Or
Yeah,
bishop?
rook seems okay, doesn't it? Yeah. Rook's giving 0.5 to white. So what does bishop give? Bishop. It's bishop. It's slightly better for some unknown reason.
Bishop
It's
is
probably-
slightly better. I mean, it's obviously a brave thing for black to do, but and what now? E4 or something?
Well, e4 does look quite scary, doesn't it? So what have we given for this? So we've given a piece for 2 pawns. Is that
Piece for 2 pawn. A piece for a pawn with
Yeah,
with
because you
down.
lost the a7 pawn, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. I mean, it's hard to
Maybe it's just
Hard
knight g4 check.
see here what's going on. Rook
Knight
takes
g4
b2.
check. Where do we go? Yeah, this is dead level apparently.
Well,
How-
it's super difficult, but now we're going to try and break on the dark squares with h4.
Oh, it's h4. See, this is the kind of thing where you can't blame any player for not finding it. Do you know what I mean? This is like
No, absolutely. But then at the same time, I would ask, why has Ravi played rook b8 if he doesn't have a sensible follow-up to bishop to queen takes pawn?
true. Yeah, he is maybe.
I mean, he did in some respects, in that he put his bishop back and threatened the pawn on b2.
Yeah.
But it seems that Howler's managed to negate that. I'm not quite sure how. Queen takes bishop a8, rook b6, right? So yeah, it seems as though Harry has here just lost the pawn, right?
Yeah. I'll say that.
Yeah,
that
I mean,
that a pawn will queen.
David could just exchange the knights and not ever be anything other than playing for a win.
Yeah, I mean, how? I mean, obviously there's ways to slow it down, but that a pawn is quick, right? It's if your king's not going to get mated with h4 ideas, which it won't, because the rook's not in the right place to help it out. A4, A5, A6, A7.
Yes, indeed. Though, of course, he's got to now worry about, can he get his rook on h1 into the game, because the pawn on h3 is going to come under attack. Black might be considering playing h4 anyway to try and soften up the dark squares, although actually now I think about it, that doesn't really make sense because black doesn't have any dark square control really.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think David will be fairly happy with how things have gone in the last few moves, and he's perhaps surprisingly got a reasonable amount of time for David.
What, 6 minutes and 30 seconds?
6 minutes for this is positively an age.
Yeah, he's already doing his shopping list in his head, what he's going to buy for Christmas.
Yeah, and the bishops and the knights have cut now, and
Ooh, developments in the Ginger GM game.
okay, let's quickly look at it then.
So after,
wow, there are lots of big developments.
lots of stuff happened. Hang on. Yeah, so let's go from b5 and then rook g2. Adams tried bishop h3. So Simon defended the f pawn some more. So I'm guessing he just wants to take. He wants to take that pawn. He wants the b5 pawn.
Rook f2.
So a6 to save the pawn.
Yeah.
a4, trying to break him up, make him a target. Adams took. Simon took back. And
Does that to you seem a little bit strange what Adams has done, in the sense he's released the rook?
could he keep it trapped? I mean, that's the counter question I'd ask. I don't know what Simon's follow-up. That's where I was struggling before. It's Simon's move actually of rook f2 is a nice move for lots of reasons, but it's a really simple reason too. He's just defending the f pawn so he can take the b pawn. It's just that's quite nice simple chess.
Yeah, of course, but that's why I didn't really get bishop h3.
Oh, in the first place, yeah, I agree. It seems like a bolt from the blue. It's got like one of those, a bit like b5 maybe one of those moves you're just not expecting. But I mean,
So I think probably Simon's quite happy now to have got his rook out.
yeah, for nothing else, and still be the pawn to the good. It's whether he can ever moved.
It's now a pass pawn, of course, as
Yeah.
well. It's a pass C pawn.
I was just about to stumble onto that. Yeah, exactly. So he's got what he's been trying to do for the whole game. I actually think Simon's just playing really well.
Yeah.
As you say, again, if we swap these two players around, you'd say Mickey would win. His kind of position, pawn up, not a lot of counterplay for Black. Black's going to have to sort of sit there. It's just how does White push that pawn?
Yeah, if White could exchange off a
Pair
pair
of
of rooks, I think he would quite like to do that.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, but he can't do it, unfortunately, immediately with rook e2 because of bishop f1, which would be nasty.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a point of bishop h3. He's just looking for that check on f1 or a skewer in that case.
Yeah, maybe just to tie the rook down a little bit to where it
Might be a
is.
nice little move, He just thought, where else would the bishop be a good piece? So Simon's taken his king off a light square, probably for the reason we just said. It's weird, isn't it? He's gone backwards to try and go forwards.
Yeah.
I guess the king was not sitting happy on c4. Does he have to come back again? Maybe it's just doing nothing there. I don't know. Because the rooks are cutting off the king's advance, as it were. You have to kind of advance behind that pawn. I don't know how we're going to push it. Do I need to say that Black's also got a pass pawn? Does that...
Indeed. And he might just push it now. He might just play a5 and just take it a little bit further up the board. Why not?
I guess it's a question that it's a bit of a stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So if Simon offers a draw, does Adams just shake his hand straight away and just say thank you very much? Or does he say, maybe I can make you suffer a little bit for my a pawn somehow? I don't know.
Sorry, are you saying if Simon offers a draw, would Mickey take it now?
Yeah, snap his hand off and say thanks.
Don't know.
It's interesting, isn't it? I wonder, as a technique player that Adams is, I wonder if he'd say, "Now you'll make a mistake, I'm going to get you." Like any good player, like if you beat me actually in a simultaneous, where the ending was.
It would be quite. It would be quite. Yeah, exactly. Aldo's made the point, and Simon's not going to offer. I think from a psychological point of view, it would be quite a strong play by Adams if he could just go, no, I'll play on a bit. I'm a pawn down, but I've got a bishop and a passed a pawn. So now, for example, if a5, I was getting a little bit concerned because Black might then go bishop d7 and play a4.
Yeah, he can push that pawn,
and
but
the pawn
the king is close to it.
Push the pawn a little bit.
Yeah, and make Simon. I don't know if he will get nervous. I think he probably will. He must be thinking in his head, "Oh, I might be, Britain's #1 player." I mean, I think everybody'd be guilty of that.
Oh, I'm sure the adrenaline is really flowing through him.
Because he nearly beat, was it Zoltan Amazi in a crazy game in the Isle of Man, and he said he did a YouTube on it afterwards, and he said his blood was just pumping all over the place.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he has had a number of very, very good results anyway, which obviously gives you confidence, but they haven't been for a little while. So he beat Gelfand, but that was maybe a good 10 years ago. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah.
He has made some really amazing kind of games where he's just blown the other guy away.
Yeah, which he literally did against Amazi, to be honest, and he's 2700. So
yeah, and it's nice to see that he's actually starting. I think probably as much as anything else to get a bit more confidence in his own game.
I think it was a great shout to do 2 tournaments before this one. He said they were warm-ups for this one, and he played particularly well at both. The qualifier for this and for the Isle of Man, he had a great score.
Yeah, I think the Isle of Man was sort of a warm-up for the qualifier, wasn't it? That he really wanted to get through, and he's managed to do it, and he's managed to get a good prize. And now he's playing. It seems a bit more relaxed, and if he can indeed, as Frankie says, just keep his calm and not let the clock go against him as well. He doesn't want to start thinking for kind of 3-4 minutes per move at any stage. I wouldn't have thought. I would be quite happy if I was White here to try and exchange off a pair of rooks
somehow. Yeah.
So I guess that must be going through his mind whether he can play rook e2. I would be thinking probably that Adams' pieces are active enough for him to be okay. The pawn on h2, for example, is quite hard to keep control of.
Yeah, is that what Adams is doing here? Is he trying to play rook e to h5? Is he just trying to double up?
He might well be.
Because why
Yeah,
is he
he
playing
might
his
well
rook to h6? Because
Well, I thought Simon might want to play rook e2, for example. But now I think if he goes rook e2 now, Adams will just take it, move his bishop, and the pawn will be lost to the rook.
what are we going to take with? Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
You probably
does it?
have to take it with your knight,
No. And then bishop where?
bishop d7.
Bishop d7 attacking the rook. And then we play rook a5?
Or even he could maybe even think bishop f1, also possible.
Bishop f1. Maybe swap off. Oh yeah, that's nicer actually. Yeah, because then you've got a partial. Yeah, but then it's not really a threat, is it? You just take. You're.
Okay.
Have you got time? Have you got time for this?
I don't know.
Can we play? No, we can't. I was going to say knight g3 just loses. Well, it loses the pawn for nothing anyway.
He loses the pawn.
All right. Well, we've got to move. We've got to move on the
Yeah.
board. What did he come up with? Oh, he has doubled
Played
up rooks. Okay, interesting. Oh, he played f4. Did he play f4, Simon? He did.
Yeah, he's played f4.
Um,
And
What?
as you say, Adams has doubled those rooks up.
yeah. So I don't know. Tough one. I'm guessing. Well. Okay, Simon. he's on it now. He's playing f5. So he's giving. Is he giving that pawn back? Is he playing? Is Adams playing rook f6 here? I guess you could play rook a5.
Yeah, you play rook a5, or any sort of liquidation would allow at the end white to take on a6 and be pretty safe.
I've got a horrible feeling this is heading towards that big D.
Well, okay, but that's not. He's not going to be. He's not going to be. You know, Adams is. This has never been anything other than maybe a little.
Yeah,
Although he is a pawn up.
yeah. He has the edge, but it's not winning, is it? That's a different turn,
No.
isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, he's played rook f6, so we're going to see probably rook a5, I guess.
Rook
Well,
a5.
did you say there was another
play
defence?
G6? If you go rook a5, does it help you to go rook a5? Could g6 just win the pawn back then?
Yeah, probably. It's probably.
Could he push his c pawn? Could he just start shoving the c pawn up the
So
board?
you mean so liquidate back to a level material?
Liquidate back to a level material. So you might have c4, for example.
Yeah,
Bishop takes f5.
maybe his king can get over and win that a pawn.
Well, he doesn't need the king. So c4, bishop f5, knight f5, rook f5, rook f5, rook f5, and rook takes a6.
Oh yeah, of course he gets it back anyway. Let's have a look at this because this may well happen. We've got a pass c pawn. We've got the.
Got our c pawn. I can take your h pawn though. So now
That's true.
rook
Rook check.
f2 check.
Yep. King c3.
D3, I would imagine, and rook
D3.
takes h2. And I think that the black king is going to get over in time.
Still rather be white.
You absolutely would still rather be white for sure. It's just probably so c5.
Can we cut the king off? Do we have time? Can we play rook d6
Rook e6 maybe to
or
stop
rook
it.
e6? I just didn't want to put my rook near the king so it could attack it in one move. But it probably makes no difference. You're right. Keep it further away, yeah? I don't know. This is where my lack of endgame knowledge is spectacular.
Yeah, this is absolutely kind of concrete, I imagine.
Oh,
I agree. I think this probably is a draw with best play. So Simon's gone king e3 instead.
It's interesting.
And now...
Is he really... Is he saying that if he gets his king to e4, is that good? Is that...
Yeah, but I think he might have missed g6.
In this line, I don't think he has, Adam, because in this line he's defending his rook on f2. So...
Yeah, but the problem is there's rook e5 check.
Ah, yes. Yes, and then obviously you're not defending the rook anymore.
So if Adams plays g6, then Simon is going to have to give the pawn back that way
And not win the a pawn.
and not win the A pawn, right? He's still going to be doing fine. I mean,
Yeah, he won't be losing.
well, shouldn't be losing, absolutely, but perhaps that's just a slight mistake. Maybe he was thinking that that now Black will liquidate now with bishop takes f5, and his king will be slightly better placed on e3.
Yeah. No, yeah, totally.
It might be he's trying to maintain some rooks on the board as well, so avoiding complete liquidation by maybe, for example, g6, he's going to push his c pawn anyway. And if I take on f4, f5 with something, maybe he'll continue to push his c pawn.
Let's put g6 on the board. Why not, which the computer does love, by the way. And, so it's a nice move there, Adam. So yeah, how would we go about this? I mean, Adams is, he's human. He can still make a mistake.
Yeah, completely. I think maybe that's where Simon's chance lies, although it's a little bit risky to leave all the rooks on the board. But I'm wondering if, for example, if c4.
C4 here, yeah.
Firstly, I'm trying to decide which way I would take that pawn as black. I would guess I would want to take it with the pawn, would I?
I don't know. As black, do you want to swap pieces here, or which is safer?
It's a hard one actually, because I think I would take it with the pawn, because
right.
Then I could play rook h4 and have ideas of coming across to e4 with check. Let's have a look anyway. Pawn takes pawn. Let's say c5.
Yeah, let's go. Let's get going. Come on, c pawn. Come on.
Adams could in this position after c5 if he wanted to probably just
F4.
go f4 check.
Yeah, f4 looks. So can we avoid f4 check? Can we not? Can we hold on c5 for a second?
Sure, let's try.
That's Can we play rook f4?
Okay.
Or am I just boxing in my rook? I just kind of like the idea of potentially swinging over at some point when the knight and the pawn starts moving. But I guess I can use the a rook for that. Can we play king? It's probably rubbish. Can we play king f4? Get the king involved.
No, that seems very sensible. King f4. Perhaps though black has an annoying rook. Oh no, sorry, I was just going to do something silly.
So we're at the end of our commentary, mate. So we've done well to stay at this level. We're not practiced at this, are we?
We're not doing too badly.
I think we're doing okay.
Look, we're up to 37 viewers.
Blimey. That's like chess bra level.
Okay, so he's taken on... Did he... Oh, he didn't play g6.
Oh, blimey. Cool. I only mean that because, easily, apparently the computer's top move, so if he doesn't play it... Oh, he does, so he's liquidating.
This is happy days.
This is what we wanted. This was the...
So he's got an improved version. So we've got rook takes, rook takes,
rook
takes a6, and rook h5, rook a2. Simon cannot lose.
Nope. So he's banked it, and he's still a pawn up. I mean, obviously Adams wouldn't go for this line if he didn't think he could hold it. I'd be
no, indeed
really
not.
shocked.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's not dead in the water, is it?
Mm-mm. As I say, you would take this position. You just would. You'd say, "Sorry, what? I'm a pawn up in a rook ending." Okay, yes, please. Thank you very much. You don't need to be explaining anything more, unless your opponent's going to queen next move or something, which is clearly that G pawn's not coming into it. Do you know what? I'm actually surprised in one way, just one way, that he saved the H pawn. I wonder if it was worth it. I wonder if it was not just get on with getting that C pawn up the board as quickly as possible. Or is he just saying, I've still got a chance to get the C pawn up the board and you're not getting H pawn? So
yeah, perhaps. I'm not sure the king necessarily is that good on e3 because the rook could then come behind the pawn. But I think probably this should still be a draw because the king will walk over. I'm imagining Simon might try something like rook to d2 to stop the king coming across.
You've got to try and cut it off at some point, right?
You'd think so, wouldn't you? Yeah.
It's awkward, isn't it? Because the rook doesn't really want to be on the second rank.
Maybe something also like king d4 suggests itself where if you start checking me, I put my king on b4 and then I can push my c pawn. So king d4, king e6, let's say,
Yeah.
and then perhaps something like, I don't know, rook g2.
G2.
Try,
Oh yeah,
trying to
yeah, I like that. Yeah, why
put
not?
rook the other way to
Yeah.
maybe give a check on g6.
No, I like this, Adam. Yeah, this looks nice.
It's something at least, I guess.
Because you're kind of trying to keep that king honest, and if you can keep the king honest, maybe you can get your king over to the b file, and then maybe you're getting something.
Certainly not trivial, I don't think.
No,
This one.
liking it, liking it. Come on, the Ginger GM. Then he'll start going on about his endgame mastery, which I love.
He will, yeah.
I really want to hear it.
He'll probably produce a whole DVD just
Yeah.
on this.
Do you know what?
endgame.
It'll be called Keith Arkle Who? As a dig at his friend. I'll show you.
Yeah, I like
look
King
endings.
D4. I think that's quite an annoying move to me.
Yeah, I mean, what other? I think you'll play it because what other active moves are there? You're not going to play Rook C2.
Probably not.
It's not. You
No.
know, I know you're supposed to get a rook behind past pawns, but then you're allowing the king to walk over easily, right? Or maybe not actually. Maybe it's a delaying move. Maybe you play Rook C2, the king comes over, and then you play Rook G2.
Yeah,
then-
he's played King D4.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Makes sense. Oh, sorry, we've gone sideline again. Got to watch that sideline. Yeah. Well, I'm just happy for Simon because it just feels like he's played a good game, like a really good game.
Yeah. For
Starting
sure.
with G4 is just, you know. All right, Mickey. How about this one?
Yeah, he's had the better of the game for sure, and that's really good.
I mean, it even bode well. I
How
actually,
exactly does Black hold this?
yeah. I mean, I'm leaving this to you because these are the kind of things where I could easily lose this as white.
Well, I'd like to leave it to somebody else.
Well, that's the downside of being the stronger player in this little combo,
I
my friend.
suppose it is, yeah.
You get the privilege of showing all the flashy lines, but every now and then you're going to have to do a rook ending.
Yeah. Is he just going to sit? So if he goes King E6, Rook G2, let's say G5.
All right, let's put that on the board.
That might be a good move, G5.
Okay. The only great news about this is you're making that rook look ridiculous, as in defending sideways.
Yeah, and he will, as soon as he possibly can, release the rook. So he might even be considering now playing 4, because the exchange of the pawns on the king side would be a theoretical draw, because the black king is close enough to the
he's not being
queen.
cut off. Yeah.
He's going to use this Philidor's defensive method of putting his rook on the 6th rank.
This happened, by the way. What we're talking about.
Wow.
Except
Did
G5.
G5 happen?
Not G5 yet.
Not G5 yet.
That'll be the next move, and then we'll just crown you king of rook endings.
Yes, he might even consider first. He might do it slightly differently as well. He might first put his rook on the other side of the pawn, so he could give a check in the middle, push the king across,
yeah, I see what you're saying.
and then play G5.
So what? Taking the pressure off the H
Taking the
pawn,
pressure off the rook a little bit, losing the pressure on the pawn on H2. But so king C4 and then G5. No, G5.
Oh, sorry. I quite like this. Sorry, I got carried away with.
Okay, maybe your move's actually better.
Well, I doubt it.
No, the reason it might be better is that if you go G5, then is that H4?
H4. Let's play it.
Trying to use the trick of the fact that
Oh, if you
might
you do rook G6 check, but he can attack your rook again on F7, no?
Yeah, and then you've got a race which is going to be a draw. I think.
Nice bit of calculating.
Well, maybe.
I'll just say yeah, definitely. Adam's got this. But I don't know, yeah, like you say, I mean, my idea, if anything else, is a bit passive, which is what happens with me in rook endings. But maybe you have to be. At least your rook, like you say, the rook's on the right side to do some defence.
I am the endgames master.
There it is!
G5.
There it is, G5! So where I was saying that Simon was going to write the ending, I think it would be a joint effort now.
I think so.
We'll say we heard it here for. I'm sorry, Simon, but Adam got the move in before you. I know you're probably sitting there for an hour thinking about it, but no. Oh, and he's gone straight. Okay, so this is getting exciting. The king is coming up.
Simon, wow, he's gone to king c5.
He's going for it.
He's going for it. Good for him. So you'd like to play king to b6 and push his c pawn.
Yeah.
And then basically he's not going to allow a liquidation of pawns quite so easily on the king side.
Adam's gone king d7.
Right. So king b6, I imagine.
Makes sense.
Although then I guess the pawn could be attacked by the rook, couldn't it? With rook h3.
Yeah, that's true. And then he might get the rook behind the pawn.
Well, it's quite possible that Adams is simply going to c8.
I missed that. Just go c8. Did you say king c8?
Perhaps that's his plan, is just to stop the pawn.
Just sit in front of
like
him
that.
and say, "How are you going to move me?" So maybe quick. Well, I don't know. Do we play? Well, he's going to get there anyway. So do we play c4 anyway?
Yeah, it's not so.
Or do we stop king c7 and go king b6?
So what do you think White's going to play here? I'm just a bit concerned if he puts his king too far away from.
Yeah, that rook h3 move.
It might just be an exchange of those
Yeah.
pawns over that side, and then there's no way he's going to be able to.
I'm with Aldo in the chat here. I'm still be gobsmacked if Michael Adams just went into this line without thinking. Actually, it's still a draw. You know.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I mean, he could mess it up, but ooh.
Maybe Simon will play c4. I don't know.
He's gone king d5.
King d5.
Yeah, I guess it's the same thing. He's just getting out of the way of the pawn, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because there's no. That's the one downside, I guess, of g5 is that the rook is not defending along that line, and if the rook ever moves, we take the pawn.
Now we might have my sort of liquidation I was talking about with. Let's go give a check with g4.
G4, yep, check.
And I guess king e4 would be played.
Yeah, seems reasonable.
And then I just wanted to hassle your pawn on c4 somehow with
rook c5.
Rook c5, let's say.
Yep.
And I'm guessing that if we liquidate the pawns, then
what
it's
about
going to be
king d4 here?
Well, king d4, and then maybe the rook just goes back.
So we're not actually getting anywhere.
Not really getting anywhere, other than then we push our c pawn. But you know, it's not completely obvious how black is going to liquidate those pawns. But maybe he doesn't have to. Maybe, for example, if c4, he just goes king c6.
So after the check, or is this all after?
Sorry. So after in our variation, we just had all the way.
Yeah. So check
to the end.
Check, and then king e4, and then we said rook c5. And then
king d4.
King d4. Yeah.
And then look back to h5.
Yeah.
And then maybe c4 by white.
c4 to change it.
And then just king c6 probably.
Just sit the king in front. It's tough, yeah. There's no quick check on the 6th rank, is there? And you'd have to be... Annoyingly, you do have to look after that h pawn, because the g pawn's quite far down the board now.
I don't quite understand what Adams has done.
Oh, what's he done? What's happened?
He's played rook h4.
It's our line, isn't it? No, yeah, instead of check. Okay.
Instead of the check, which doesn't seem to me to be quite so good, because now
Simon played king e5 straight away. Straight away.
And now the point is that you can't quite get the same sort of liquidation, because rook c4 is met by rook g3, and then he can push his h pawn one square, and he's made some progress.
Yeah, this is
it might not be significant, but it's certainly something.
You don't want to be like giving away extra pawns in this position.
It might be that he can just go maybe rook c5 check, but
And then after king
king f6, I would guess.
yeah, king f6, then what?
And then
Then we're losing a pawn.
you see that king and that rook are slightly too close to the corner where that h pawn might queen, right?
Yeah.
It's a bit uncomfortable for black.
I know, yeah, it's very interesting. As interesting as a rook and pawn ending can be.
Exactly.
Fair play to Simon. I mean, like I say, he rapidly played king e5, so I think he's looked at this line. I'm pretty sure he's looked at all the lines. He's got the time.
Steady defense here is required.
And Adams has got 4 minutes.
Yeah, he's under some pressure for sure.
I mean, he's a pretty good blitz player, I'm pretty sure. But
so he
still,
played rook h3.
rook h3.
Which makes much more sense than my move rook c4, because now you can't play rook g3 and h3 because you'd lose your h2 pawn. So
yeah, he's not going to play rook g3 here. I'm guessing that's a fairly easy draw.
G3, and he's not going to take on g. Play. What will he play? c4? Do you think?
He's got to try and save that pawn. So yeah, it's either that or his king goes back and he checks. So that I think c4 is
The other thing he could consider doing, just first of all, is he could consider just asking that black king which way he's going to walk. He could give a check on d2 and see which way Adams puts his king.
would he? Yeah, okay. So if he put it on let's put it on c7.
Okay, and now it's gone to c7. Is there anything in?
Do we have to play c4 now?
Well, is there anything in king f5?
King f5. Oh, and letting that pawn go.
Because of the distance that the pawn's been cut by. There are some very kind of theoretical.
Ooh, yeah, I kind of like what you've done here.
About this type of position and about the number of files that the king's been cut.
Yeah, I like what you've done here. This is nice. You cut the king off quite nicely there. Didn't even realise what you were doing.
He played. Yeah, he didn't do that.
Ah, damn.
Unfortunately, I think he went rook c2 instead.
Yeah, and Mickey played rook f3.
Mickey played rook f3. So Mickey now wants, I guess, to play. Does he want to play g4 now? Probably he does. And g3 and liquidate.
Yeah, and again that king on c7's then perfectly placed. He just wants the king in front of that pawn. Even I know that this is a draw if those pawns swap off.
And I see. Had Simon just had it, had Simon just given the check first, and now you see if he gives the check, then king will go to the c file because the king can't come to the f file.
Yeah, I mean that's quite a counter cut-off, isn't it? Where the rook on f3 is actually doing a really good job of stopping the king causing trouble.
So he's pushed his f pawn. Sorry, he's pushed his c pawn by the looks of things.
We all knew what you meant.
Adams will now push his g pawn.
Yeah, I think we've got the liquidation coming. I think
we could stop it momentarily. We could stop it with king e4.
Are you ignoring me?
No, hang on. I'll be back in a second.
How long you for?
I know, baby, but I'm chatting.
You said 1:30. Yeah, I'm not going on.
So king e4 after g4. So perhaps instead he might just wait with king c6 first.
There can't be any more moves soon.
He's moved. Has he rook f4? Okay.
Sorry, I was just chatting. I did say I'd be finished by 1:30, and that was an hour ago. Kirsty's rook endings.
How quickly the time flies. Doesn't
Well, it's been an interesting game.
3 hours.
I mean, like yesterday was fun, and that went really fast too. And this felt like exactly the same length of time, but it's just there's been so many interesting moves.
Yeah. So.
What's going on now? I step away and then suddenly people make moves. So
yeah, so he's not gone for this liquidation. Instead, I think he's just going to sit there and go, yeah, you know what? I'm going to put my king on c6. And if you go king d5, I'm just going to check you on f5 and check you on f4. and you can't do anything. So now I would imagine king is going to come to the c file.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
And I think that was just that
Yeah.
one slight
King
misstep.
C6.
Question from Frankie: how much time do we want to waste on a Sunday? I suspect the answer. I don't think I'll be staying away around Frankie for the second
No,
game.
unfortunately not. No, this has been quite long, and as I say, we've got life commitments. So if we were professional and we were being paid for this, then we'd obviously consider it. But we're not.
They should just be. Everybody should be donating lots of money to your.
They really should, and then I could split that with you quite happily.
Yeah.
I might because you've been a bit more useful than me. I might even give you the heavier end of it.
Okay, so look, it might now go to the liquidation this way, but this should now just be a draw because he could just even go rook h4 to avoid anything.
Yeah.
That would be what I would play. Just rook h4 and then king c5, king takes pawn, and okay, he's taken. So now rook takes g5 will happen. Rook h4 will happen.
Yeah.
Rook g2 will happen.
And then king coming over.
And the king will come over.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exciting game.
Exciting game indeed. Interesting end game and nice kind of calm defence by Adams.
Yeah.
Where he was probably always in control, but maybe there were a couple of slightly risky moments for him.
Agree. No, Simon had the better of it, definitely, 100%.
Simon had the better of it. He'll gain confidence from the result anyway, even though it's a draw.
I actually think he's a more dangerous player as Black, Simon. So I think he's still got a chance in this.
Maybe, but I would think Adams is obviously still the favourite.
Yeah, fair play.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
But yeah, great game. Thanks so much for your comments, Adam. It's been a lot of fun. As you say, the time just flew by.
Yeah, indeed. That shows that we're having a good time and it's interesting, huh?
I agree.
And Hawkins McShane was indeed a draw. And Howl and Harvey are just interestingly. Howl is now losing.
No way. Have a quick look.
He's losing. He's lost an exchange. I don't know how he's lost an exchange.
Oh, he's really down, isn't he?
It's time trouble. Look at he's suddenly his opponent's just got in the back around his king.
Yeah, well, all you can say is well played, Ravi, right?
And yeah, if Ravi keeps his cool, and that's not easy to do, he's got to find a couple of good moves. Then he probably should win that one.
Well, that's great. Making David play for a win in the last game as Black. I love that. That'd be an exciting game too, which I'll be popping in and out of because obviously I've got to go.
Yeah.
So thanks again, Adam. That was top, mate. I really enjoyed that. Hopefully we can do something similar soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Cheers, guys. Have a good Sunday, everybody.
Thanks, Adam. Cheers, mate. All right, guys. So that was awesome. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I'm going to end the stream here. Please follow. Please like. I'm going to upload this on YouTube. We actually did some analysis yesterday, so if you want to check out that game, that's there too. This one will be there later. If you came late, we talked about a lot in this one. Let's put it that way. So thanks for joining us, and I'll see you all soon. Bloody hell, Aldo! I'm glad I waited for that one. I'll obviously sort Adam out as well. Cheers, mate. That's really generous. I'm actually really touched by that and shocked. Thanks so much. And I'll see you all soon. So bye for now.